Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everything in between, and welcome back to Run With It. Tonight we'll be presenting episode 7 of Gaecia, a homemade Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. I'm Crazy Ferret, I'll be your dungeon master for the evening. I made this world and be your guide through it. I hope you enjoy your stay. With me tonight is Britty.
Hi, I'm Britty. I'm the token American. I'm playing Fleet, the definitely not insane half-drow monk.
Riley.
Hello, I'm Riley. I'll be playing Yareth Sebastian Lieb von Nuttlestamp. He's a noble. He's always been a noble. Don't look into that.
Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt. I'll be playing Phoenix White, level 2 Fire Ganassi Divination Wizard, fiery guy, just out here looking for spells.
Nat.
Hello, I'm Nat. I'll be playing Althea, the level 2 Asimar Bard 1 Cleric, a Life Cleric 1. She's friendly and doesn't like to see things die.
Unfortunately, we will not be joined by Lumie tonight. Because she's got work, like she has a life, apparently, whatever that is.
Something about barbarians not being in campaigns.
We don't have any announcements for the beginning of the stream, so we'll just hop right in. Last time on Gaecia, following up their investigations that they were set onto by the Church of Aesme into three missing children. They kind of hopped into a mini little dungeon crawl in a sewer. They met lots of nasty stuff down there, but eventually they kind of got to the end where this Dragonborn scholar by the name of Gareth Athone had apparently kidnapped the children, and he was using them for some decidedly nasty magic tech science thing experiment, where he somehow infused them with presumably some of his own like Dragonborn genes or whatever, and he kind of mutated them so kind of all like partially scaly and stuff. The reason he was doing this was presumably so he could try and channel the kind of ancient dragon energy that the Dragonborns were obviously originally made from, and he had some success. He kind of made this Frankenstein hologrammatic flickering dragon entity that the party had a nice fight with before Urashi slew it. And upon discovering the extent of the nastiness that happened to the children, Fleet decided that this Dragonborn scholar did not deserve his life, and so removed it from him by force.
In my defense, I didn't think he was gonna die. He's just very frail.
No.
Fair enough.
I had to kill him, like, but yes, yeah. So, with the children found, they kind of, went back to the church who had actually hired them, and yeah, they claimed some money. They did their job. Church are going to see what they can do to try and turn these children back into from mutant part Dragonborns into just regular humans. Yeah, so the party finds themselves with 2 days to spare, kind of free time, I guess, in the city of Lantern. What are people wanting to do?
Well, I mean, Phoenix finally has some funds. He's going to spend at least some time transferring one spell that he's managed to accrue into his spellbook.
Sure.
Got money.
Basically, whenever in this city, just be like, yo, I'm going to drop 50 gold on magic for spell scribing inks. I'd be like, cool. Basically, whenever in a city, you can get them, and probably most towns as well. So.
Magical world, you could probably find a magical pen and paper somewhere.
You can't get like more ink when you're in the middle of the desert, but like in a city, yeah, just say, hey, I'm dropping 50 gold on this, and it'll be fine.
You say that, the mythical sand squids.
Are you saying that there aren't magical vendors out in the desert waiting to give us pens and paper? Come on.
I mean,
I gotta say, I was annoyed by having to choose between a new spell and being able to cast one of the spells I already have.
Wow.
Nice.
Anyway, what's everybody else doing?
Fleet is going into full meditation training mode because, for reasons that have been previously described, she's very unhappy.
Not a happy camper.
Definitely not a happy camper. Only coming out of her room to get food, and then it's right back into her room.
Cool.
Well, you're nice and simple.
Yep.
Anybody else trying to achieve anything?
Gareth will, in an attempt to make a bit of money, go to a different tavern, not the one that we're staying at,
Yeah.
and try and run some definitely fair games of chance.
Oh no.
He will basically try and run a few rounds of like 3-card Monty and stuff like that to try and steal some money effectively off people.
Yeah. Okay.
Shell game.
Okay. You want to play a game of chance? Let's play a game of chance. How much
Hopefully slightly
are you-
rigged game of chance in my favour. I
Well,
don't know.
we'll go into that. So how much would you initially try to bid?
Got 80 gold. We'll start off with 20.
Okay, big boy. Roll a d8, please.
1d8 coming up. That's pretty good.
Okay. You now have the chance to raise or stay or whatever you would like to do. I'll tell you, after this, you get to roll a d6. And you get a chance to raise your stuff again, then a d4. You add them all together. Whoever has the most between you and your competitor wins, basically. So you rolled a 5. Are you wanting to raise, draw, whatever?
I won't raise. I'll stay on $20 at the moment.
Roll a d6 then.
Oh, okay.
You raising, lowering?
I'll raise another $5. Why not?
Sure. Your opponent will match. You can roll a d4 now. Okay.
Great.
If you're trying to cheat, make me a sleight of hand.
Come on, Gareth.
Nice.
Okay, Yareth.
You get to re-roll any of the dice you like.
Is it complete re-roll or is it re-roll keep the higher number?
Complete re-roll.
Ooh.
We'll re-roll the d6.
Okay.
Okay. I'm so proud of you, Gareth.
Cheaters never prosper.
Shut up.
Okay. So as the cards are shown, you scored one more than your opponent. So you gain 25 gold.
Nice.
The outcome of your gambling. So we'll say that's like a condensed of several
Yeah.
games. You kind of play to the point where they decide you're too lucky and don't want to play with you anymore, but they don't suspect you of cheating
Nice.
with that.
Yeah.
handle.
The only other thing that Gareth would do then is potentially go to the magic shop if other people are interested.
Okay. In terms of magic shops, there is one place you could go to for like mainline magic items. However, you know that the what's it called? Merryfoil Association tavern you were in. They deal in minor magic items, and they might also have some consumables that might be of interest.
Is it possible to check out both and then like
Yeah, you got
go
2
back?
days, like,
Yeah. I'll go to the what I'm going to say proper one first.
Yeah,
and then
You alone, or are people coming?
I'll after Yaros does his gambling, he'd like to do that by himself. But he'll then say on a little bit later, just chaps, if anyone wants to go to that magic shop, then I'm thinking of going down, seeing what they've got.
Phoenix would come along.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Hey, 3 for the magic item shop. Okay. So as you wander around town, you probably ask a couple of people, "Oh, do you know where there's a magic item shop and stuff?" Most people are particularly helpful because common people don't go to magic item shops all too often. However, actually, one chap will gesture you down a darkened alley, basically. As you kind of approach towards the end, you see a very rickety, dishevelled sign that reads Boblin's Bazaar. I can't spell bizarre. Hang on. Bizarre. Oh, yeah, I need to spell check myself. Ah. Hang on.
We're hanging on. We're on the edge of our seat. We're ready.
Oh, Google has failed me.
I believe Bazaar is in the shop is Bazaar.
Nah. Oh, there we go. It's not. Yeah, there we go. Boblin's Bazaar. So
Oh, Bizarre.
It's a play on words.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, so as I say, it's down this very dark and shady, rickety little alley. Incredibly out of the way. It's not where you would expect pretty much any person would ever really ever go, unless they're asking to be mugged. Looking inside, the windows are kind of all cluttered. There's various kind of trash and rubbish. It doesn't look particularly inviting, but this is where you're told to go. So you kind of wander inside, and as you do, the kind of continuation of rubbish everywhere very much seems to be a continued theme. There seems to be incredible lack of disorder in this shop, and there are things that are placed on kind of red velvet cushions that are displayed as if they are the most valuable artifact in the world, and it's just like some dusty old dented like tin can kind of thing, whereas this kind of you notice in the corner of your eye this very magnificent necklace covered in jewels kind of just slung on the like very farthest back section of a shelf. It's weird. Your traditional senses of value seem to be thrown off by the way the shop is arranged. Inside, you notice there's 2 female figures. The first is a half elf who seems quite young, possibly maybe 14, 15 years old. They seem to be kind of attempting to tidy this impossible mess. You're kind of trying to sort through it and categorize it as best she possibly can. It seems like a Herculean task to try and eventually go through and organize and sort this entire thing. The second is another high elf. This one has kind of bright blue hair. They are kind of leaning kind of behind the desk on the shop, kind of hand in their arms, just kind of half asleep. And they're probably just startled and roused by your sudden coming in. Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. What can I do for you?
Hello there, chaps. Myself and my friends here, we were looking to purchase some magical items.
I see. Well, this is very much the right place. What exactly are you in the market for?
Oh, I don't know about the others, but what have you got that catches my eye, really? I'm a spellcaster, so but what have you got, really?
Okay. Perception check here, Arif.
Sure. Sorry, I close my character sheet down every time.
It's fine. Nice.
Natural 20 for a 19.
Okay. What would take Yaris' fancy?
New hat.
One thing that
New hat.
stands out to you within your price range is it's kind of clearly you want it's a long length of wood, kind of a few adornments on the end, but kind of the base. There is a intricate carving of a smiling face. Kind of a small label on it describes it as a Wonder Smiles. This one does 3 charges. While holding it, can use an action to expend one of its charges and target a humanoid you can see within 30 feet. Target received on a DC 10 charisma saving throw, it will be forced to smile for 1 minute.
Oh, ferret. Yes.
35 gold.
Sold.
Oh, what have you done?
Only DC 10. It's not
Sold.
that. Okay. Let me. Sorry, I'm just copying and pasting it all in.
That's fine. Yes.
Okay. Should be in your minor items tab. I'll show it to everyone just while we're here.
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of walk up to the counter without looking at much else. So you saw this first, and you're like, yes. So blue-eyed half elf. We'd be more than happy to, trade with you. Oh yes, well, that's a. Well, it's quite a my street, really. Would you like a demonstration?
Sure. Why not, chap?
Bennett, can you make me a charisma saving throw?
How did I know?
Well, I think there's like only Yareth and Phoenix and Althea is always sporting a smile, and Yareth is the person trying to purchase it.
Yeah, so you feel this compulsion to smile, like overwhelm you, Phoenix. But fortunately, you kind of just your natural grumpiness, I guess, kind of manages to supersede the magic.
It's called
You
you,
choose to fail.
It's called
Choose to
stoicism.
fail.
you could choose to fail if you wanted to.
He does not.
Go on.
He's just been pointed by at a wand he does not recognize. He's not choose to fail anything.
Uh,
As a point, is this still the same day, or has a day passed?
so they kind of after the events, I assume you kind of just rest and stuff. So it should be the day after, so it's the 8th.
Cool.
Should have all long rest and everything. Oh well, shame it didn't work then. Hang on, and she'll kind of point it at herself, and you can see her now kind of get contorted into this most. It looks almost painful. This grin that's on her face. It kind of.
What a waste.
Whenever I hear this item, I just imagine the Joker gas from Batman, where it's just the forced face-wide grin.
Yeah, and like she kind of hashtag that. How are we going to say? She tries to explain it while her mouth, like this. You can't really speak.
Take your time, chap. Let it wear off before you speak.
Phoenix will
You
lean
see-
over and say, "You should ask for some
Stand-
money off. It only seems to work half the time."
It kind of just stand awkwardly as she waits for it to wear off. As you see, it's not always successful, but
Well-
it's a trinket. Let's put it like that.
Yes, magic's never always 100% successful, is it?
Well, no, quite. I've got a voice. It's quite. That's very much how it is. So you happy to have this? Is this what you want?
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, chap.
Trade your 35 gold.
I've removed it from the
Can you
pouch.
look at you satisfied with your budget, Yareth?
Yeah, Yaris pretty satisfied. He might pick up a couple of consumables at the other place, but yeah, happy.
Anyone else?
So this specifically is not the consumable place.
No, the consumables was the what's it called? Merryford Association Tavern you were staying at. They've got because you could probably get potions, like health potions and stuff here, but like for more minor consumables, you want to go to the tavern.
Oh no, in that case, Phoenix would say. So I imagine you kind of keep a lot of volatile reagents, potions, and such. What have you got in the way of reinforced glass?
Well, not saying I'm overly familiar. I've only very recently inherited this place, but I can have a look. And she'll kind of potter off round the back. And she'll come out. I think this might be what you're looking for. And she'll kind of hand you vial. It seems quite thick and chunky. You kind of look at it. It definitely seems to be higher quality, possibly stronger than basic glass vial.
But it's like regular vial sized.
Well, as I say, it's a bit thicker, but like in terms of what you'd put inside it, yes.
4 ounces of liquid. How much?
I don't really know. 6 gold?
I mean, you're not really going to be shifting this, are you? Otherwise, how about 5?
I suppose. Why not 5? Why not?
All right, thank you very much.
Right.
And Phoenix will spend a moment transferring, very carefully, the grey ooze from one vial into the more reinforced one.
Full of booze. All right.
Close the vial and then pop it on the end of his staff.
With staff of adornment. Okay, sure.
Yes, he will adorn his staff with a little reinforced vial of grey ooze.
You take the very plain of your staff and you kind of just put the vial on top. And yeah, it kind of hovers about like half an inch above where the tip of the staff is, and it kind of just rotates slowly. Oh, that's an interesting adornment. We got a couple of those staffs bound back as well, I think.
Really? Did you happen to ever sell one to a Dragonborn?
Well, we get quite a lot of traffic through here. I mean, lots of Dragonborn, you know. I don't remember exactly who I've sold everything to. Sure you understand.
Could I describe Gaurav to the best of my abilities? See if it
Of
jogs
course.
him.
No. If he was some sort of minor scholar, it's possibly wasn't drawn to this place, let's say. She kind of looks at your puzzled face. Oh, of course, I never explained. I'm so sorry. Yes. Where exactly have you come from?
Me or as a group?
No, what's outside the door?
An alleyway.
No. What city is the alleyway in?
Lantern.
Lantern. Do you know of a lantern? She kind of calls to the girl who's kind of working to tidy.
Somewhat twigging.
Hold on, chap. What do you mean? Are you saying we're not in Lantern right now, chap?
Well, I'm not sure I fully understand the magic myself, but yes and no. The shop isn't technically in Lantern. It's in this place known as Redbow's Keep, as where it's like built, but it's able to connect to various other places. As I understand, it's not just in the same world. Other planes, potentially other places. I say I didn't enchant it. It was very complicated. Connects to random disused doors all over the place, only found by highly notable, not honestly notable, but magically powerful or whatever, important people, heroes, adventurers, that kind of thing. Not like the average Joe would never be able to find it. It'd just be like some weird door. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't really.
Yeah.
So if we step back
Yeah,
out the
what?
door, we are going to be back in Akoran, right?
You'll be back in Lantern. I'm not sure what this Akoran is you're talking about. I'm very sorry.
Hang on. Can I just check? Gaecia. Heard of that?
might have in passing.
Yareth's face is the mix of, it goes from excitedness about the fact that, like, hear that, we're important chaps, to then just slightly queasy in a weird way, just confused. What? No, makes no sense.
Yeah, okay, moving right past that, I don't suppose you've got any kind of fine incense.
Yes, we got a lot of incense in the back. What exactly magical use are you thinking about?
I got a new trick I want to try. I need about 10 gold's worth.
Oh, find familiar.
No, you've heard of it.
Yes. Magic's the same, no matter where you are. Yes, I can get you several letter. If you buy in bulk, I can give you a discount.
I'm not quite that flush at the moment, so I'll just take the
Fair
one.
Oh, what's the discount?
If you buy, enough for 10 uses is 90 gold.
So it's basically buy 9, get 1 free.
Essentially, yes.
Sorry, I'm not flush enough to help you there, chap. Would love to, but
Well, if you say you're not that flesh, I'll just get you one band. Are you needing a blazer as well to burn it in?
No, I've got that covered.
Fair enough. Just kind of go in the back and bring out the incense. Yeah, you can drop 10 gold on that.
I'm back to being poor.
Yeah. Althea, are you doing anything?
Not really. I think she's just sort of like around looking at like the odd things, maybe like going to poke something and then thinking better of it.
is she straight vibing?
She's just out having a good time with her friends at this point.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a bad day. She's just keeping herself entertained.
Yeah, this is quite an entertaining place. There's all sorts of weird things. There's like a barrel that's full of miscellaneous weapons. It's probably like just a chest just full of various jewels and stuff. There's lots of interesting stuff. Like each shelf is very different. You probably spend all day just looking.
As well as, people who are not from here. That's something.
Like I imagine Yareth and Phoenix will probably have to like snap her attention away from something she was looking at to actually get her to leave the shop, though she may have not had any intention of buying anything.
Sure. Hey.
We'll have to find that one again.
I mean,
Okay, so you don't know magic shop?
Yeah.
Boblin's Bazaar, rather. Okay.
If what they say is true, then it might be that we can find them in places other than Lantern.
You don't know. All right, cool.
Don't.
So where are we going? What are we doing next?
As we step outside, Phoenix will take the kind of shovel hanging off his backpack, take a knife, and just try and shave like a sliver of rust or just a little bit of metal just off the shovel.
Sure.
Then he'll open the vial and just feed that little sliver of metal to the grey ooze and pop the cork back on.
As soon as it touches, it starts to swell up with smoke. Well, not actually smoke, but like gas. And you realise you're probably going to let most of it kind of evaporate off before you stop it again to avoid pressure and explosions. But yeah, it seems to dissolve the rust right up.
You are just adorable.
What next?
Very different interpretations of that word, lad. Chap.
Oh, come on. It's a little grey ooze that eats metal. This is awesome. Even if it did
Sure.
try and kill me. Hey, you never know when a little portable metal-eating monster might come in useful.
Yeah. Other than probably popping around the tavern and the tavern shop for other things, Yareth's pretty good for the couple of days. He's just going to take some R&R.
Sure. Okay, you wander or make your way back to the Laughing Giant, which is the Maryford Association Tavern here in Lantern. If you ask about trading islands, you'll have basic stuff. Basically like PHP, like rations and stuff you could buy. He also has a couple of healing potions. He also has miscellaneous consumable magic items. Point before I talk about these are all homebrew.
Mhm.
Therefore, could be massive imbalance. As these are kind of standard stock, you're able to find these across the land, especially the more lower level common stuff. There is other stuff. I just only got so much that I've had time to prepare for the day. There's also high level stuff that there would be no point telling you about now, etc., etc. So he'll kind of go through the kind of things he's got. First of all is Wayfarer's bread. So he kind of gets it out, and it's kind of this. It's kind of 2 inches by 2 inches. It's kind of about ½ inch thick. It's kind of a little square of bread, kind of white bread, got flour on top. And yeah, if you eat it during a short rest, if you decide to roll hit dice, you can just take the average value basically. So it just makes hit die on short rest a bit more reliable, I guess. Yes, as I say, it's consumable, so as soon as you eat it, it's gone. And with these consumable items, some of them only work for a temporary amount of time. So in this case, it's 2 weeks. So that's Wayfarer's bread. Next is Seeds of Magic. So this is probably one of the ones that's most likely to potentially be misbalanced. Basically, you can eat these seeds and you can regain spell slots. So yeah, it's an action you can consume up to 5 seeds. Of each seed consumed, you can recover one level of spell slot essentially. So if you consume 2 seeds, you can either get 2 first level spell slots or 1 second level spell slot back essentially. So currently 40 GP per seed, but yeah, the pricing of that is probably likely to change as we see.
As if being a wizard wasn't expensive enough.
It's not meant to be something you can use all the time. Then is Reinvigorating Brew. So basically it's an energy drink. And then if you use an action to drink it, you can roll a number of dice equal to half your level. They're the same type as your hit dice. So obviously for the cleric, your hit dice is D8. For half your level, D8. And you recover that much HP. So that's 30 gold, and it lasts forever. It is one of the fun ones. Next is Bewalling Nut. Oh, that's not what I want to press. So basically, if you like a small nut, you kind of put it between your teeth, crack it. It kind of encases your body in this kind of nutty shell-like armor, and basically you get temp HP equals to 3 times your player level. It kind of this nutty armor kind of absorbs blows for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Put some nuts in your mouth and get tankier. Sounds nice.
Then
Not just any nuts. These nuts.
Got 'em.
Bewalling nuts. Then we have Mulligan's Muesli. So basically, if you eat it during a short rest, you can change what spells you have prepared up to your proficiency modifier. So good for you wizards and clerics and druids and stuff. Yeah, so it's always showing me you go to you completely misprepare your spell list. So this is just kind of a bit of an extra thing you can do. There's another one that's likely to potentially just get price and balancing changes because it might be abused. I don't know. We'll have to see. And finally, my personal favorite is the red hot chili pepper. Basically, if you eat it, you have to make a Constitution save to not take damage. Dwarves, Goliaths, Orcs, and Half-Orcs have advantage while during one fire can actually pass automatically. In regards if you pass or fail, next minute you can basically breathe fire because just how hot this chili is. And yeah, that's a fun one. So that's 25 gold.
Half-orcs have advantage and fire ganassis pass automatically.
I mean, yeah. I didn't know this was under this party in mind, but
Can I just ask a quick rules question?
Mm-hmm.
As a warlock,
Yeah.
cough, the Mulligan's Muesli wouldn't do anything for me, would it? Because I know my spells, and
No, 'cause
those
you're
are the
not
spells I
prepared.
know.
It's
Yeah.
for prepared spellcasters.
Cool. Just wanted to check.
It doesn't let you like change like no spells. It does
Yeah.
work for like warlocks and sorcerers and bards.
Awesome.
Those are your options, along with like healing potion stuff at the tavern. They also have miscellaneous spirits.
Healing potion, your standard 50 gold.
I think we did it cheaper early in the campaign. I can't remember.
Yes, I don't remember how
Was
much.
it like 30 or something? I think
Oh.
because it's consumable. You do it like less. I can't remember. We'll go with 30 for now.
I think.
How much money do I have? These are so good.
I would like to buy 1 seed of magic and a bewalling nut.
Of course, that would be 25, 65 gold.
Cool,
for
cool.
both of them.
Easy peasy.
You're also aware it's a 4-day journey to Aathwai, and you'll probably want to buy food for that.
I think. Wait, no, I've got 6 of them left. Cool.
Yeah, I have 6 rations.
I've only got 2, so yeah, I'll pick up 3 more rations.
Sure.
How broke is Phoenix, Matt?
14 gold.
Is there anything that you really want?
No. He's set. He's got his little staff of adornment and his ooze.
Does he? Would he perhaps
5
benefit
silver,
from the
1 day, and that's actually 15 silver, 3 Phoenix.
Sorry, I completely missed that ferret.
It's 5 silver for 1 day, so that'd be 15 silver.
Cool. So
I
1.5 gold.
would Phoenix like a diamond worth 50 gold pieces, perhaps?
I mean, he would, but Althea wouldn't know that.
Gareth would like to buy 1 reinvigorating brew and 1 red hot chili pepper.
Of course. That would be like 55, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So glad
He
someone
will-
jumped on the pepper.
And he will throw the pepper at Phoenix, say, "Chap, catch."
He will. I assume he catches.
I mean, like, the description of it doesn't expressly say that fire Gaecia are immune. You could probably just make that logical assumption.
Spicy pepper, hot man. Makes sense.
I mean, it doesn't do fire damage anyway, so you'd be taking half the damage even if you failed the con save, so.
Little treat for you. Seems fun.
Thanks.
No problem.
Alright. Are we doing anything else? Are we moving on?
I think I'm pretty good. On me.
So,
Time to close down the items. These are really good items.
Yeah.
I love the flavor on them. That's great. Get it? Because flavor, because of their food? I thought that was funny.
I did not get that. Yes. So, as I say, so I'm new about the map, so obviously, so 4-day journey between Lantern and Aathwai. You didn't need rations actually, because I was just about to point out to you. I'm going to explain the map a little bit. So as you can see, there are roads denoted in black, and there are roads denoted in brown. So the roads denoted in black, those are major roads. So obviously, in Akaran, the major road that runs from Casimir all the way down to Rotherin is what's known as the Spine. So basically, these major roads, you can expect hostile like every day's journey along them. So you wouldn't need to go buy your rations because you can just say hostel on the road in between. Whereas these brown roads are more minor roads, you wouldn't necessarily expect that. It's not to say it's impossible, because there are more ones that are more well used, say between Islana and Kandor. You might expect, well, you would know, at least Aathwai would know there's a couple because it's more well used, but it's not technically a major road. If you're traveling along Black Road, you can expect hostels, so you won't need to buy rations. So you can redact your purchase if you would like, Phoenix.
Nah, it's always useful to have a bit of jerky on hand. It's not like it's going to go off anytime soon.
It's
If
a
you're
nibble
moving
along
along
the
a
road.
brown road, you wouldn't necessarily expect that. That's just a point of note.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's 3 hexes travel per day. But yes, all right. Just to explain that. So, no, back to Lantern. Yeah. So kind of the 10th would dawn, bright and early. After you've had your relaxing, or for Zomi done other stuff. But yes, you've done what you're doing, and you make your way back to the temple to Aesme here in Lantern. Go back to talking with the High Priestess Iona.
Just as a note, when people came down to the tavern that morning, they would have found Fenix already there, which is unusual because he's not generally an early riser. But he probably would have drawn some looks, essentially sitting in front of the fireplace with the kind of block of incense that he bought, hovering between his hands as it slowly burns, quietly, kind of whispering to himself. And he would have timed this for about the time he expected people to go out. So around the time people start coming down, the incense will stop burning, spark for a moment, and then kind of reignite into this little flaming sparrow. It'll just circle his head once, and then land on his shoulder. For ease, it will have the stat block of a hawk,
Cool.
which I believe is a fine familiar? Raven, maybe.
And villager hawkies. Okay.
Torches.
Yeah. Let me give
Yeah.
you a hawk then.
It will be a little flaming hawk, almost like a flashy little flaming sparrow, but it'll have the stat block of a hawk.
Okay, you should now have one in your journal.
And I know that the spell specifically says Fey, Fiend, or Celestial. Is there any way I could have that as an elemental?
Sure, I can see. I can't think of a reason why not.
Cool.
You're going to call this familiar one to go horse 3.
No, this is Moat.
Cool. As in, I'm making it.
Yeah, well, just seeing that. Never been a fan of that one myself, but can see why you would like it. It's a good
Well,
spell, that one.
my mentor had one, and well, honestly, she'd never stop talking about their uses. On my travels, I've never really had the money to spend on extravagances, so I thought, well, I'm a bit flush. Might as well see what all the fuss is about. Give the little flaming bird just a little scritch under the chin.
Kind of go. I'm not going to try and imitate birdsong. It'll just go tweet and happily.
Happy tweeting.
Does it pets? Yes. It's just sort of like reaching hand out, retreating, reaching hand out, retreating, reaching hand out, retreating. Like,
like the third time she reaches her hand out, Moat will just hop into her hand. You'll be warm.
Yes, for a sparrow, it's like it's you know when you get like a freshly made cup of tea and you hold it in your hands, it's like just warm. It's like it's kind of that kind of temperature. It's very nice to have in your hand. Pet it and kind of just tweet and look up at you curiously, kind of tilt its head.
Hello. I'm Althea. Nice to meet you. She'll hold like a finger out as though like to shake a hand.
Moat will ruffle its wings and then extend one wing. Kind of the longest feather brushing the end of your fingers.
Phoenix, this is the best thing you've ever done. Yes. She'll just sort of like give Moat several like little like very gentle pets. She does not know how to handle a sparrow before sort of gently moving it back over to Phoenix's shoulder.
Sure. Cool, you now have a sparrow.
Yeah, and he will stand back up and just... Well, we'll have to see what this little guy can do later. He'll snap his fingers and Moat will just kind of wink into a kind of little puff of smoke and go back to its little pocket dimension for now.
Cool.
At this point, Fleet would come downstairs, disheveled hair, disheveled uniform. Looks terrible. Morning.
Oh, hello. Are you all right, chap?
Hey, fine. Just hard work.
Good couple of days.
Good training. Good training. Yeah. So, I kind of zonked out there for a few days. What are we doing now? What's the plan?
I think it's time to head on.
Oh, already. Wow. Time to fly.
Well, I think Hope's talisman will be done, so...
She just takes a second to straighten out her hair, get her uniform a little bit more in check. It's still bad, but it's less bad. All right. Shall we go?
Yeah. Oh, Phoenix, show Fleet the thing.
Phoenix will eye Fleet for a moment, just thinking, person raised by cats, tiny bird.
The thing?
And then he'll shrug, snap his fingers, and Moat will reappear.
Oh. I feel like I've seen some of them around the university before. What do they call them? Familials, right? Something like that?
Familiars, yeah. They're not uncommon magic, but I've been told they're always useful.
I've seen them pull off a lot of good things.
This one is the cutest though, Fleet. Wouldn't you agree? Look at him. He's up.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, yeah.
Phoenix has done a lot of cool magic, but this is definitely my favorite one.
It is certainly the most interesting one.
Phoenix will clap his hands together, kind of do that ego rub and go, well, that's a challenge if I've ever heard one.
Right, so on to Aathwai, right?
We'll start by the top first to pick up your charge.
Uh-oh, Riley.
I was going to say, is it just me or Riley?
Oh, no,
Robo Riley.
Oh, we got a snare drum in the background.
I was gonna say that.
Chat.
Oh. It's not the most important word through. Actually, so I think that he's expressing everything he wants to with just a single chap. Right, I think we'll carry on with that Riley for the moment.
Best
yeah.
chap of the stream.
Yes, you make your way back to the temple here in Lantern, where the High Priestess Iona will kind of... Yeah, she'll kind of say that accompanying on your journey will be Abriel, the Asmar you're all familiar with. You first met in Rutherford. And is it 3? It's like 3 or 4. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 other acolytes of the church. You'll kind of... They're just there for like a bit of added protection and like help you through when you help you through to the church in Aathwai once you arrive there.
Fancy.
Yes. So she'll reiterate the fact that they have basically gathered the materials and stuff, so non-detection magics can be cast on Hope by Abriel along the way, and then applies to make the permanent solution in Aathwai, because they've obviously got the money and resources and people capable of making it, because obviously it's the capital. But yes, so obviously that's your current plan. So yes, unless there's any objections, you can kind of start making your way back out onto the road at large. So, we have 3 carts full of wool, a lot of horses, as will the people of the company, the other horses as well. Can you arrange yourselves in a rough marching order? So obviously got 3 crates of wool. You got all of you and your horses. So just kind of arrange yourselves where you want yourselves to be, where you want your companions to be, all that kind of thing. Anyway, I have grouped you and your things together. So if you click them once, you can then move them as a whole.
So I imagine this side is the front, and
why did
back
my
here
horse-
is the back.
I clicked and my horse disappeared. Where have you gone, Kyriakos?
I think it went somewhere down. Oh.
What's happened?
It was over there?
I've tried to make things easier. I think it's made things.
Althea's gone.
There you go, you're back. Yes.
Oh, we need someone on the thingy, don't we? So,
You'd also tell the acolytes to drive the wagons if you wanted. Because you need someone to drive the wagon. Or carts rather than wagons.
Is anyone on this horse? Does Phoenix is in the back of the cart?
yeah, Moat's driving it.
Urashi's probably just leading that horse. Phoenix ain't riding a horse.
I don't think that's where you want Urashi to be. So, I mean, to drive a cart, you want to be sat on the cart driving. You're not on
Okay,
the
he
horse.
can do that. He's just not
Yeah.
riding a horse.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you have to tell me where you want Abriel, who's this chap, and then your acolytes and Urashi, kind of in the marching order.
Urashi definitely up front with me.
Yeah, I'd
So-
say Urashi and an acolyte leading the way, like up front, like 2 abreast if possible, and then the rest just sort of around.
So kind of like that, ish.
Probably, yeah.
Ash is still
don't know-
injured.
Don't know if we want another person behind Althea.
Which cart would Hope be riding in?
Yeah, it is important where it'd hope be. That's another important thing.
I mean, I'd imagine the middle card. Just to keep us safest.
Precisely why we should put her in either the first or last cart.
I was gonna say, I imagine if she's not riding directly on Fleet's horse, probably on Althea's cart.
Yeah, in Althea's cart, and Fleet will stick nearby.
Okay, so Hope's in Althea's cart, and where are we putting Abriel and the 2 acolytes? Because you can have people like in between the carts, you can always space that stuff.
Yeah, I'd say Abriel between the first and second cart.
Sure.
Yeah, we've got 2 in front, 2 in the middle, 2 in the back. I like this. I think this is good.
And then this acolyte over here can probably go between the second and third cart.
Sure. Showing this guy kind of more directly at the back then. I would say that you probably want to be on the road, instead of off the road.
Yeah.
Your horse isn't 4-hoof drive.
That was terrible.
So many puns today.
I don't think that's a good thing.
Okay, so that's our rough marching order.
I mean, I am the bard, you know, so...
The bard without an instrument, yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
bard with a holy symbol, what of it?
All right. So the first day kind of goes relatively uneventfully. Is there anything people want to be doing as you're carting along?
Probably not
Fleet,
the most conducive environment for it, but Phoenix will again be just examining all the stuff we got from Garav.
Sure. Arcana.
in the meantime, Fleet is just going to be talking to Hope, figuring out how much she liked the church, if she's excited to go to Aathwai, just getting a read on the child.
Okay. So, are you wanting to actually have a conversation, or you're just saying you're having a conversation?
Just saying I'm having a conversation, because that's what Fleet's focusing on.
I mean, from what you know, like she had the definition of a sheltered childhood, as in she was in one room her entire life till about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, she's kind of got a very limited worldview, and it's kind of incredibly centralized on her mother and what her mother might have said. Oh, what do you think of this? Oh, well, Mom always said yada yada yada. So yeah,
What
Which
the heck is
makes
a box of chocolates?
that makes perfect sense to Fleet, because family is everything. So obviously, the important family member you had is going to mean a lot to you.
she's like the only person in her life, like at all.
Yeah,
But sure.
exactly.
Yeah. In terms of examining Garav's equipment, as I say, you're trying to reverse engineer the works of a madman, basically. It's incredibly complicated, but you kind of get the basic idea, and it's kind of a channeling of spirit. So kind of normally when you conjure things, you kind of you just make it, or in particular cases, you channeling of your familiar, you channeled this spirit very much from another place, this entity, and it's kind of similar. However, it's kind of more localized to the individual. And you imagine that was what the kind of amulets they had on. Unfortunately, they broke. So you imagine that was kind of it's channeling a personal spirit instead of spirits from other places, which is what conjuration normally deals with. And yeah, it's kind of a lot of the more complicated stuff is probably the linking of the channeling together, because it wasn't just channeling him, it was channeling the spirits of the children as well, who he obviously modified to be part Dragonborn. You kind of gather this channeling of spirit. It's kind of channeling the spirit of the dragon, which obviously exists within all Dragonborn. Kind of conjure this dragon. You kind of gather the basics in terms of the actual mechanics, exactly how he did it. Even that 20, you're level 2.
Yeah, that's fair. Just a basic level. Could I determine what Garav did to the children? Was that based on Garav himself, as in he used himself as a template?
Yes, so you imagine from they kind of are like black scales. So you imagine is very much he kind of there's not a great understanding of genes and DNA in Gaecia, because obviously it's not scientifically advanced, but it's kind of that kind of thing. You imagine he put certain elements of himself and he used that to modify them, mutate them almost.
And again, if this is a beyond a level 2 wizard, tell me, but could I determine if it was required that Garav was the spellcaster doing this? Or could Garav have, say, used a different Dragonborn if he had one on hand to infect the kids? I.e., is any research into this doomed to the fact that I, as a Ganassi, could never return these kids to how they were? Or if I had a human on hand, I could do it with them?
So are you asking if you can reverse the process that happened to the children?
Essentially, I'm asking if I were to go down the route of figuring out how to reverse this process, would it be doomed to failure? Because of like a very fundamental thing of the person doing the changing is the thing that they will be changed into.
Yeah. Nat 20. You definitely think it's possible. to kind of take about. You don't think it's a completely irreversible process. However, as I say, even with your reverse engineering the thoughts of the madman, so it could take the dedication of a lifetime potentially. I mean, you could crack it out in a month. You never know, but it's probably more likely to be the
I
lifetime.
never thought it was going to be something I could crack out in an afternoon riding in a cart, but
Yeah, exactly.
it's good to know there are at least avenues of research here.
You don't think it's completely blocked off, no. Is anyone else doing anything else as you ride? Cool.
Don't think so,
so-
no.
The end of the day will dawn, and you kind of come up to this hostel. It's basically just a place to sleep and eat on the road. So it's not that expensive. So 8 silver for the night. That's 2 meals and a bed. So it's relatively well priced.
Is that each for the group?
Each. Obviously, your companions on the church will pay for themselves. It's fine, is the best way of putting it. It's by no means the nicest place any of you ever slept, but it's fine. Like it'll do.
It's like a small version of home.
Yeah, it's got quite a busy parlor room. It's mostly full of wagoners and various other trades people who make their living like by working along the road. It does get quite noisy. As kind of wagoners and stuff have a propensity for getting quite drunk along these routes every night. So yeah, you might struggle to go to bed if you're kind of going to sleep particularly early. But overall, it's fine.
Is Fleet wanting to stay with someone again?
No, the sounds and the noise just remind her of home. She's very comfortable here.
Fair.
Where's Hope staying?
I mean, unless you particularly want her to be in any of your rooms, she will stay with Gabriel.
That's probably for the best.
That's absolutely fine by me.
Cool. So, once again, day will kind of dawn bright and early. You kind of carry on making your way on to Aathwai. As we go, can I have perception checks, please? So, actually, no, a group perception check, sorry. So that would be 2 dice.
I can roll one if someone would like to roll the other.
I'll roll the other.
Pretty good.
Hey.
This is concerning.
Okay. So, morning passes without event. You're kind of just making your way along. It's not the fastest going because obviously it's a relatively larger party, with carts, but you're making good time. And you kind of stop for lunch, and it's nice enough. But in the middle of the afternoon, kind of about 3 o'clock ish, as you're kind of making your way along, you see, you kind of, there's been this river that's kind of been flowing alongside the road for a few miles now. It seems that the road's about to cross it, and a few hundred feet away from you currently are, you can see this little stone bridge. However, kind of standing just stock still
Oh no.
in the middle of the bridge, there is
There is a what?
a figure.
Aha.
Phoenix will click his fingers, resummon Moat, and send the little sparrow ahead, seeing through its eyes. He will momentarily kind of fall back on the cart, eyes closed.
You telling the caravan to stop, or are you just doing it?
The road's pretty straight up to the bridge, right? So he'll just rely on the other horses keeping his in line as He sees through Moat's eyes.
Straightish. All right. Okay. So as you kind of close your eyes and assume Moat's vision, he kind of flaps his wings and kind of does a little hop and takes off into the air. And he kind of swoops past along the caravan, past the front cart over Urashi's head. It kind of covers the intervening distance relatively quickly. The figure seems human. They're kind of dressed in fairly common traveller's clothes. However, the way they're standing seems a tad off somehow. They kind of slouch their their arms are lying very just straight down, as if there's like nothing supporting them.
Feeling a bit weirded out, Fenix will mentally command Moat to circle back round. And what's the clearance on this road? Is there like forest on either side, or are we quite open right now?
Well, so there's still possibly 100 feet between Moat and this figure at the moment. There's kind of trees either side. It's not properly a forest. Like you could drive your cart between the trees fairly easily, aside from the rough ground. So it's not particularly dense, but there are definitely trees. If you're thinking like, could someone be hiding in ambush?
Yeah.
Maybe, but they'll have to be quite a way off to be able to sufficiently hide themselves.
Okay. Moat will pull back about 50 feet from this figure, and then kind of get as good a look as it can.
Sure. You kind of get a bit closer. The kind of the slumped way they're standing, it definitely becomes more pronounced. Their heads kind of lolled slightly forward, not like all the way down, but it's not like standing up as if you might expect from somebody who's kind of looking forward. You also notice there appears to be something odd on kind of the front of their chest. It's kind of some kind of square, possibly a bit of parchment, maybe. It's difficult to say. You'd have to get closer.
No, at that point he's feeling unnerved enough. He'll call Moat back.
Sure.
And kind of, with that command done, he'll sever the connection, sit up and go, that's not a traveler. Guards up, and he will cast Mage Armor on himself, gaining that kind of wavy, heated air effect around him.
Yeah. He's in his own little heat mirage, or whatever they're called.
Okay. Seeing and hearing that, Yareth will cast Armor of Adithis as well, just in case.
Sure.
So it calls in some moisture around the air, and a few fragments of ice form across Yareth's clothing, especially the top hat.
I imagine with the heat wave around Fenix, the moisture is just pushed away, and that it just starts immediately getting drawn towards Yara.
Fortunately, they're not next to each other.
Would you say it's a frosty top hat?
God damn it. That was terrible.
Kind of as you're kind of making these preparations, Abel himself is kind of craning his neck and trying to have a peer towards the figure standing on the bridge. He's definitely, as alert and concerned as you guys are, which is somewhat understandable, since it's kind of his job. But yeah, is anybody else doing it? We're just approaching.
So, what's the deal with this guy, Phoenix? Do we know anything? Did you see anything?
He looks off. Some kind of paper on his chest.
Do you want me to scout ahead a little bit? I'm quicker than the rest of us.
Yeah. Just be on your guard.
Fleet will trot her horse up to Ash, hand the reins off, and just start lightly jogging ahead of our caravan, I guess, towards this person.
How far ahead?
Getting close, probably within 50 feet of this guy.
Yeah.
Trying to get there before the rest of our carts do.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take you to the map.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're shooting. So the caravan's a bit back for now. Ignore the token. That's like the picture on the token. That's not what it looks like at all. Yeah, as you kind of get to, we'll say you're kind of here-ish. You're kind of looking ahead. Yeah, you see much the same. It's kind of just the slouched disposition, something square and parchmenty on their chest. Looks like, as I say, they're in regular clothes. They seem like a regular person, but they're just kind of, as I say, they're hunched and slouched, and they don't seem to react to you approaching at all. Which
Hey, sir, are you all right? Do you need help? She's just slowed a little bit, but is still walking closer, trying to get a view on whatever's on his chest.
doesn't seem to react at all yet.
Do you need help of some kind? You're just stuck up here in the middle of the bridge. At this distance, can I make out if something is, like, on his chest, on the paper?
Yeah, as I say, it appears to be parchment. There seems to be a couple of words written on it.
I mean, if he's still not responding, Fleet's getting closer and wondering if he's, like, is he paralyzed? Is he dead? What's the deal?
Yeah, as you look still, like, he just looks like a regular person. Like, are you trying to inspect him for, any abnormalities?
I'm still focused on this paper. I want to know what's on it.
Okay, perception.
Big 6.
I mean, as you can tell, it looks almost like a letter. As you kind of start to read, like, where kind of like the, to Dave or whatever might be on the letter, your eyes is kind of drawn away from the actual wording because you notice something that you didn't notice till you get this close, something that's decidedly disturbing. And that's the fact that this letter has been nailed to this man's chest, and you could kind of see the dark red kind of staining the parchment around the nail incision. You kind of look below where the parchment is, you see a small, like, evidence of dried blood. The blood that's presumably leaked out from this wound is long since dried.
Well, I can say with safety that this person is dead, so I'm gonna step up and tear the letter off.
Sure. You kind of reach your hand out, you kind of tear the letter off of the nail. You kind of see the front says to Lord Albin. Albin. But yeah, as you start to look at this, this is when the figure moves.
Oh.
As you're kind of looking at this part, you're like, what's this? I can grammar. Its hand kind of will just kind of whip up or kind of grab you around the throat. At this point, we'll say this is when the rest of the caravan has a chance to get to its current position. I think we'll call that initiative.
Aw, shit. Perfectly average initiative. Lovely.
My apologies. My internet has been awful. Combat starting.
Yeah. So this kind of slouched figure, Fleet was able to get close. However, he kind of tore this letter off. However, as soon as he did that, it kind of reached up. It grabbed Fleet around the throat.
Okay, that's not good.
Cool. Yes, who's controlling Urashi? Because I need to give you her sheet.
I think Nat threw his hat in the ring for controlling Ash.
Sure.
To finally throw some attacks.
Okay. Should be in your journal. You should be able to control her now, Nat.
Cool. Who needs an initiative? Yes.
For the sake of brevity, Matt, we'll just say Familiar takes their turn immediately at the end of your turn.
Cool.
Instead of rolling
You can pop moat off the turn order then.
And that opens up Ash's sheet and it's just, wait, what are these mystic levels?
Barbarian 1, Mystic 1? What is this?
No, just Mystic 2.
One, Mystic
Oh.
5.
No, just Mystic 2.
Just Mystic 2. Ash has never been a barbarian.
She's got the stats of a centaur.
Oh god. Okay.
Sorry, I can't
that
actually select
everybody?
that. I can't select that Urashi token.
Oh, because I need to. Hang on.
But she got a 17.5 on initiative.
I need to re-pull her out.
15
There we
rather.
go. You should be able to control that one.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. So just roll and then put the 17.5 in. Yeah.
Be closer to that, to be honest.
Yeah. So just put the 17.5 in.
Oh, did that not have us selected? Sorry, I missed the button.
It's fine.
Right, there she is.
There we go.
And now I can put the 17 on there. There we go.
Cool. Sort by descending. Yeah, that's good because it now means that she's going first.
Cool.
Yes. What is Urashi doing? Seeing this, the figure in the road has got Fleet by the neck.
It's half movement to dismount, isn't it?
Yes.
So dismount to there. 15 because slow. And we'll just action dash to get nice and close to it.
Cool. Okay. Initiative 15.
Still got a bonus action there.
Not going to use it.
Cool. So. So, kind of coming out from behind this rock, you see a shambling form. It seems vaguely humanoid, however, it is dressed in rags. It's got incredibly pale skin. You notice there is incredibly old blood kind of dried around the mouth. It kind of immediately scarpers towards the nearest target, so it's this poor sod acolyte. You notice it's got like 1.5 inch long nails, both in the hands and the feet. And yeah, it'll kind of reach up to slash at this acolyte. I'm rolling to GM, that's a 23, which will definitely hit. So he takes some damage. And you notice this kind of acolyte, as he kind of gets slashed by these claws, he kind of shouts out, and kind of mid-shout, he kind of goes, "Hah!" And he kind of freezes where he is.
Oh.
Hang on.
Oh dear.
And he is paralyzed. Cool. Much the same scene, kind of scrumming up out of the river.
Oh, there's more. Good.
Dash towards the earth.
Hello there, chap.
Okay. It is the paralyzed acolyte's turn, so he's just going to stay paralyzed. Fleet.
Well, you know, I really don't like having a hand around my throat. I don't suppose if I just punch him, he'd let me go. What do you... Maybe if I ask nicely. I do... It's actually something I've never done. Nah, I think I'm just going to... Can I move, or is this a grapple?
It's not got a firm enough grasp around you to be a grapple yet.
Okay, so I'm going to move to this side of him.
You kind of twist around so its hand lets go, and you kind of move around to it.
And now I'm going to punch it a few times with advantage because now I'm upset.
Sure.
Yeah, just wacky with the staff first. 16?
16 would definitely hit.
Nice. And then bonus unarmed strike for bang more
Definitely.
damage.
Cool. Yeah, so you kind of whack it a couple of times. You kind of hear the satisfying, sound of your fist impacting onto its flesh, and it definitely reels away from the force of your strike. And now kind of it's more animated. You kind of hear it as it turns to face you.
Oh, I don't like that. Well, I think that's where I'm going to keep my turn for now, and I'm going to go help that acolyte as soon as this guy's dealt with.
Sure. This acolyte's turn. What's he going to do? What spells do you have? Yeah, it sees that you're right in front of the Gjordiar, so this acolyte's going to reach out his hand, and this kind of mote of light is going to stretch between the distance between it and you, and it kind of floats around your head. It is Shield of Faith. You now have +2 AC. This guy is aiming
Oh,
at you.
Fancy.
thanks very much. What has Yarth done to earn such kindness? No, that's 150. That's 15, not 156.
Yeah, that's all he's doing out there.
Cool. This thing next to Yareth, does it appear like visibly undead, or is it just like a nasty looking dude at the moment?
I mean, it's difficult to say at this exact moment.
Cool.
You'd have to spend time looking at them to necessarily
Cool.
identify them.
I'm going to instead of what I was going to do, shout out to Yareth and say, if we don't have to kill them, please don't kill them, but do your best, and bardically inspire him.
Sure. You feel Althea's words kind of wash over you.
And then as not really got anything to do as an action. I don't have any reason to believe these things need to be killed. I need to be on the cart. Yeah, that's me. Got to keep.
Cool. Big nasty boy. Beginning of both your turns, of its turn, sorry, Fleet and Urashi, I'm going to need you both to make Constitution saving throws, please.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Constitution for Urashi is that one.
Probably a big number.
All right, so Fleet fails and Urashi passes, so Urashi is now immune to this effect. Fleet, you are now poisoned to the start of this creature's next turn, as it kind of just, your initial assessment, this guy probably isn't alive. Yeah, you are now being close to it for this extended period. A kind of stench of rotting flesh kind of washes over you in a wave, and you kind of try not to vomit.
Poison. Ooh.
Not nice.
That's a condition you don't see very often.
And yeah, is poisoned advantage to attack you? I can't remember.
It's disadvantage on my attack rolls on ability checks, but I think, yeah, that's it.
Yes. All right. Cool. Yeah. So it's going to reach out to you with its kind of hand, and you see its nails they've kind of been sharpened to a point. It's going to try and claw you.
Please no.
That'd be a 10 to hit.
10 does not hit.
Cool. Yeah, that's its turn. This boy at the back of the column. And he's just going to Snore come a bit closer, and he's going to try and Sacred Flame this nasty boy. So that'd be a dex save. That would be a what's the DC? Or a pass. So he kind of extends light, but this kind of creature kind of twists out the way. Is not affected by it. Okay. Initiative 5.15. Sorry, Phoenix. Kind of bounding out from this tree will come another nasty-looking creature, and it kind of make its way towards Abriel as the nearest person. Phoenix.
Cool.
Well, that's only more of a concern. I've got a better shot on it, so just above the little vial of grey ooze, a little ball of fire is going to swirl to life. I'm going to launch it at this one.
That one. All right. 11 will miss, unfortunately. It's kind of making its way much faster than you might necessarily expect. You kind of misjudge your shot, and it kind of goes slightly wide.
Then with sort of a mental whistle, Moat will fly to here and just start making a bit of a nuisance of itself around the back of this ghoul's head.
Sure. Yareth.
Cool. Now it's Yareth. Am I in melee with this ghoul?
Yes.
Okay.
You're a little bit up, but like it's enough so you're in melee.
Yeah. We're gonna try and step away from it.
You do have flanking.
I am entirely ranged, my dear chap. I can bonk it, but
What?
that's about it.
No shocking grasp?
No! That's on the level up!
Oh, it's a shame that.
I will try and step away from it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely take an opportunity to against you.
Yeah, go ahead.
19 to hit.
Oh, yes!
Cool. Can I also ask you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
Yeah,
course.
Yareth will roll that at a 15.
I mean, I got a 19.
Yeah. So
You do have to declare before?
I do have to say it before.
Ah.
That's fine. You rolled, so.
What's this? Sorry.
The
I was trying
divination
to
wizard thing?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
You rolled, so.
We just have to
Yeah.
remember for the
So you
future.
kind of feel this. The claws kind of dig into your skin. You feel this nasty, like toxic substance kind of seep into your system, but fortunately you don't let it take hold. It's 9 damage, not 4, Yareth.
Yeah, I've taken the 9 because I had Armor of Adithis up.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, so it takes cold damage,
So
right?
it will take 5 cold damage, yeah.
Yeah,
As the
kind of
armor explodes and breaks all over him. And then, right. Not nice. Is there any extra movement to jump off the cart? Or
No.
okay, cool.
Not that off the ground.
We will jump off here. Just say to Draydard, just stay, don't move. Move over here and Eldritch Blast, that one.
Sure. Roll to blast. No, definitely not blast. Unfortunately,
Oof.
much like Phoenix, you kind of misjudge how fast this thing is moving.
I was going to say, could I add Althea's Bardic? It was Bardic you gave me, wasn't it? Althea?
Yeah, you got a bardic inspiration.
Throw that d6.
11.
11 will still not hit, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, last week, or whatever the last combat was, I can't quite remember. Yeah, last week, Yareth, that was not the same Yareth. We're back to normal.
Yes, they kind of, as you reach out, you kind of think, "Oh, Althea believes in me," and you kind of stretch out your hand and blast, and like kind of as that you're initially, you're like, "But does she though?" And then kind of that moment of self-doubt in Althea kind of sends your blast slightly wide.
She said not to kill them.
Yeah, that's it. You're like, she said on Dakota, but I'm using a killing thing. Yeah. That kind of momentary confusion kind of trips Yareth up.
Cool, that's Yareth.
Okay. So Abriel's turn. You kind of he's got a thing on him, but kind of before it like gets into melee, everything will kind of stand up in his stirrups, and he seems to be looking towards this figure. Phoenix, you're closest. You kind of hear a intake of breath, and he goes, "Bloody hell, that's a left." And then his fingers on top of him, so he kind of swears.
Oh.
Oh.
He will kind of bonus action. He will kind of conjure a. I should prefer to take him this. Just go this. A glowing sword that will kind of appear next to the ghoul and will stab it.
Smash.
Right, we're on the GM again, but that's a 7, which will miss. Yeah, he's
This
just
guy's
going
got
to
level 2
action
spells.
disengage, with his. No, he's going to disengage on his mount, so that's fine. Back to Urashi.
Cool. Axe time.
With advantage. Smash.
Yes. but fun advantage, not boring advantage.
Is she angry?
No. Reckless attack.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Well done, Archie. I'm proud.
Well, unfortunately, we'll miss. She's kind of.
Wow.
It's because she's not here. That's why.
Yeah. Well done. The pacifism seeping out there into Urashi.
Oh no.
She was-
Everyone.
You're
Just
infecting the
watch them start-
character sheets.
Yeah, just watch until they start like Althea just starts shooting guiding bolts left, right, and center.
She's doing everything else.
Yeah, having missed, she will now get angry.
Okay, sure. Boom.
Grr,
Right.
angry.
Red ghouls. This one says its prey run away from it. It's got a bird in its face, but it probably doesn't care too much about birds. Barely more than a mouthful. So it's going to make its way to the next acolyte, and it's going to try and do much the same. Unfortunately, an 8 will miss though. Or fortunately, an 8 will miss though. Rather, it kind of swipes up this acolyte. Will kind of rear his horse up in the way, and will kind of block the blow. This one, seeing has got that acolyte paralysed up. Can he make his way to? No, not quite. No, you can't get in range of Phoenix, so yeah, you'll just finish the acolyte off, and I'm going to roll.
Oh. Paralyzed would be with advantage, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's going to make his way not quite to Phoenix. Fleet.
Well, I'm poisoned, which feels really bad.
Yeah, as I say, you almost throw up from the smell of this thing.
Do I think Ash will be able to handle this after that last swing? I don't know. Fleet is going to throw a quarterstaff attack at disadvantage, but at advantage, so it's just a normal hit.
That would definitely hit.
It's still thwacking.
I mean, yeah, you're definitely whacking this guy up, despite the fact you're almost throwing up.
Just gonna remove my token for a second so I can look at the health bar. Oh, he's still healthy. I am going to just bonus action unarmed and just try and keep its attention on me so Ash can keep doing good things.
Okay. Yeah, and you've done way more than she's done so far, so I wouldn't feel too bad.
Who needs advantage anyway?
Yeah, sure. Okay, you doing anything else?
No, that's my whole turn.
Cool.
I know what I'm doing when I'm...
This acolyte, it's got a thing in its face. No, he's just going to disengage and get the heck out of dodge. If you'll pardon my language. Out there.
Right. Now that this creature is closer, do I have a more solid idea as to what it is?
Again, if you're thinking, what exactly is this? That's going to take time. If you're just looking for a general vibe.
Cool. Yeah, no, I want to know what it is, because otherwise she's not going to attack anything.
Let's say your choice of religion, nature, or history. bearing in mind whichever one you choose will kind of depend what information you might get. But yes, religion. Yes, you go. This is definitely some sort of foul undead being. From the kind of teeth and the dried blood around the mouth, you gather it's probably some kind of nasty flesh eater. Since you chose religion, you kind of remember this kind of story, basically, of this kind of group of elves who kind of worshipped some nasty otherworldly being, and to kind of honor him, they started eating humanoid flesh as though they were deformed and turned into savage flesh-eating beasts. That's kind of a advisory. Only worship the gods, don't worship anything else. Kind of story you remember. However, it seems it might have slightly more legs in reality than you initially anticipated. So that was your option.
Where's Hope again?
Hope is in your cart.
In my cart, cool. I'm going to turn around and Sanctuary Hope.
Cool. That's concentration.
Protect the child.
Sanctuary is not concentration.
Not concentration, good.
I know a cleric played by one of our friends who is very good at stacking non-concentration buff spells.
Cool.
And that'll be me.
Next boy's turn, Fleet. I'm gonna need you to make me another Constitution saving throw.
Oh shit.
Because it's all smelly.
10.
Unfortunately, you do pass this time, so you're now immune to it.
No longer poisoned. Hopefully.
So you're no longer poisoned.
Just got a hair clip and put it on my nose.
But what's it gonna do about it? Fleet is going to try and grapple you. Can you make me your choice of athletics or acrobatics, please?
Well, I know which one I'm choosing.
Okay.
What, you got closer than I think you should have.
Reach out and it's going to try and grab its hands around you. However, you can't slap them off. It kind of growls in annoyance, and it's going to reach out and try and nom you with its. No.
Oh man.
Cool. This boy's turn. How many spells does he have? He says basic spells. Yeah, so he's going to reach out and he's going to try and guiding bolt the nearby ghoul. I'm still running to GM, but that's a 9. So. No.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, they're not great.
And I'm loving and hating your rolls at the same time, because I love that they're not hitting me, but also our guys aren't hitting them.
Yeah. Orange boy's turn. Who is technically closest to him?
Live by the poor GM roll, die by the poor GM roll.
No, I think it's Yareth, because he's not going to climb over.
Hello.
He's going to start. Oh, it's not going to go into yours. Oh, no, hang on. Wait. There bound towards you.
Do the token shuffle.
Rake at you with its claws. No.
Oh man.
I've gone from not being able to roll damage to just not be able to hit you. Okay, Phoenix.
Yeah, that one's way too close for comfort. So.
Twins will definitely hit.
Whoosh.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll kind of shriek in pain as you kind of tear it, and you can smell the burning flesh. It's not particularly pleasant, but we can do for now. It still seems to be back towards you there.
Phoenix is gonna hop down off the back of the cart.
Sure.
Move to. Where's he got a good sight line? About. That's not far enough away.
So while Matt is deciding where to move, can we just contemplate on the whole elves who eat flesh becoming undead? Can we think on that for a second?
I'd rather not, to be honest with you, mate. If I'm being totally honest with you.
And Moat
Spells do, right?
didn't seem to provide a lot of
I
distraction.
think I might remember more of the story when we're out of combat, and it wouldn't break up the tempo to just go into hit lore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Moat's just going to fly straight up, basically
Sure.
get out of combat.
Cool. Yareth, you've got a nasty boy in your face.
I do.
Yeah, this boy right here.
He is standing right on you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was literally on top of him
Oh,
on mine, so I've just moved myself slightly.
You were there on my one.
That was the same for me. Yarth moved, and then suddenly there was a ghoul.
That's why I was confused.
Wait, that's just a weird Roll20 update. Oh well.
I moved away from you before. Can you stop?
Well, it's technically a different one.
I don't know. I will just try and blast him at disadvantage.
Sure. It's advantage.
Just as a note, DM, does flanking only apply to melee attacks, or would flanking...
I believe it's only melee attacks.
I'm going to use
I'll have to look
inspiration
up
to
the
roll
rules, but
that.
Melee makes sense to me.
Inspiration to
10 unfortunately
reroll.
doesn't hit.
Isn't that it?
10 does not hit, unfortunately.
Sorry, I always so many different DMs with so many different inspiration rolls. Can we use inspiration afterwards to reroll?
Yes, so I do inspiration like luck point. So you roll and like, oh no, it's a rubbish roll. I use inspiration to reroll.
So I will use an inspiration to reroll. So is it just
So
one
you
more
could
roll
say-
or disadvantage
So
again?
you say, I see that 10, I'm going to reroll the 10, but you'd keep the 16.
Okay,
So if you
If
got
if
like
you rolled
a
over the
19.
16, you would take the 16.
cool. So we'll take
Okay.
the 16.
So you were taking the 16, which will hit.
Thank you. 12 force damage.
Is that max damage? No, not quite.
No.
He has a little bit more
Living room.
charisma than that.
Kind of in desperation, you kind of hold your hand out, like you just put your hand on its chest, and it's
Yeah,
nasty and cold. You kind of just, you kind of the spurt of blood and gore kind of probably almost reaches Phoenix, and it kind of just splatters out over the ground. It seems to be moving awfully well, despite the fact it's got a massive hole now in its chest. But it definitely seems hurt.
Now, unless you want me to do that again, chap, I suggest you leave me alone. And that's Gareth.
Sure. Abriel is just going to bonus action move up his switch weapon and whack. No, okay.
Ouch!
And then action. How can you see that one? It's got a bit of cover. He will move around to here so he can guiding bolt this one. Be 18, which will definitely guiding bolt, which will be
Big damage, because Guiding Bolt is a great spell.
13 damage. Nice.
So good.
46 for a level 1 is just insanity.
And then it gives advantage.
To the next hit, yeah.
Yeah, now he's all glowy.
Just for a bit of clarification, according to the rule book, flanking only applies to melee attacks, but it's up to you to make that ruling.
That's what I thought. Cool. Is he doing anything else? No, he's using anything. Urashi, back to you.
That's to whack.
Angry Whack.
Angie whack.
Much better.
Nearly minimum damage.
It's not quite minimum damage.
Eight points of slashing damage.
Yeah, you finally make an impact and you kind of slash across the back of this thing that was once a leth. And you're kind of just in pain. But it still seems mainly concentrating fleet as he's done way more damage.
I have smacked it a lot.
And I don't think there's anything else I can do. So, that's me.
Red ghouls. Okay. This guy's almost dead and he's glowy. Yeah, he's just going to murder an acolyte, why not?
He will certainly try.
Nope. Okay. This boy, who can he reach? Oh, he can definitely reach Phoenix. Cool.
Cool. If he's going to attack, he's going to roll a 9.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah.
Good use
that's
of
fine.
that divination.
Yeah, So you kind of start to. What did it look like when you twist fate thusly?
It's the way I understand portents. It's less about twisting fate, more that there are fixed moments in time that I see in the morning.
So kind of you see it closing distance between you. You kind of have a flash of it kind of going for a high swing, and so kind of before it even reaches you, you start to duck so that when it is in range and then slashing, your head is 2 inches below where it was aiming for, and you manage to dodge past it thanks to your flash of insight into its actions. Cool.
Well, I mean, that depends. What would it get with a roll of a 9?
It's a 9 on the die. I think it's a 9.
So the dice becomes a 9.
What's its bonus? 4, so I'd be 13 to hit.
Yes, it misses. Good.
I'll be embarrassed.
That would be very embarrassing. Because I think
DM, no, that actually hurts.
You duck your head down only to be kicked in the face.
it's funny because I don't know if any of his recent rolls have been better than a 9 besides the guiding bolt.
Hush now.
Just meant he was overdue.
Fortunately, I get more chances to roll more dice as
Ah!
the throws its way out from the river. And it'll kind of make its way towards a horse.
Oh, don't you dare!
That's a dead horse.
No! My horse!
Is that your horse?
That's my horse!
Well,
That
you
was
shouldn't have left it there.
That was his
It's
one.
now your turn if you wish to wreak vengeance.
Look, it was not under my control because I got off my horse. That's Ash's fault. I blame Ash.
You can't blame a character if they're not here.
I can and I will. Denial's a bitch.
Okay.
I think it's actually a river, but
What did I say it was?
Pa-da-pa-pa-da-pa.
Oh. Oh,
Having now seen out of the corner of my eye, my poor horse get nommed on by a ghoul. Fleet is very upset.
Reaches up and it kind of sinks its teeth into its kind of neck just below its head. It kind of whinnies in pain as you watch, as this thing incredibly efficiently wrenches its teeth, and your horse's throat will kind of be cut and you'll kind of collapse to the floor, bleeding out.
Fleet is upsetty spaghetti.
oh no.
I'm going to use
That's
a bonus action to go into flurry of blows.
Sure.
As I smack a bitch twice.
Blow flurryingly. Yeah. I'm telling you,
For minimum damage every time.
I mean, it's definitely starting to look not so stable. Kind of beaten him mostly into submission. There's just the kind of last vestiges of life behind his eyes. This thing that was once alive.
Do I think it's going to hit me? I mean, if it gets a chance to swing at me, it will. And I want revenge. So I'm going to begin to take my movement to go in this direction. Just get ready to be very angry at this ghoul.
So you're letting it opportunity to attack you?
Yes, because I can't disengage. I've used my action and my bonus action.
Cool. That's I hit someone.
21 will hit.
Cool. Can you make me a Constitution saving throw, please, as you take 7?
I was going to ask, earlier it had said something about if the target was a creature other than an undead or an elf.
Oh. I changed that.
Okay, because I was about to say, I'm half-elf, does that count?
No, that's the pitch. Monster Manual, I've reflavored that.
Well, I am Angie, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
I just take 7 damage. Ow. That hurt.
Alright, is that the end of your turn?
Yes.
Cool. Which is this? It's this boy. I mean, he's doing his best to protect Yarth with the Shield of Faith, so he's just going to keep on keeping on, and he's going to guiding bolt the one in front of you, Yarth.
It is appreciated. I don't know what I've ever done to help this man, but he has my thanks.
Apparently nothing, as he does not hit.
He's kind of distracted by you and the glowing sword. He's not great in combat. He's probably not ever been in it before. So he's kind of he shows this patch of grass right here just who's boss. Um,
I'm proud of you.
Seems thoroughly chastised by his holy intent. Unfortunately, the nasty ghoul bearing down on you seems unbothered out there, and he'll kind of back off.
This one here,
He's
Al-
glowy.
Althea will just sort of turn her head to it and say, if you could leave now, that would be appreciated. As a glowing rune of Esme's symbol appears on the ground beneath it, can I have a what's it? Dexterity saving throw from it, please, as I cast Sacred Flame.
Oh.
Big fail.
Yeah. Boop.
Yeah,
Six
this kind
points of radiant damage.
The similar anyway kind of appears beneath it, and the kind of glowing light kind of strikes up. You notice the light kind of stabs up through this creature coming out the other side, and kind of shrieks in pain, and it's kind of nasty undead flesh will kind of wither beneath it. It kind of this unearthly howl will kind of be emitted from its lips as it collapses.
And then sort of like, because she knows she's in combat with undead, she turns to Phoenix and just almost like shouts, like her voice carries even though she's not shouting, and she's just like, Phoenix, teach it a lesson. As bardic inspiration.
Cool.
There's sort of a fierceness to her that hasn't really reared its head as of yet.
Phoenix feels weirdly inspired.
The thing that was once a left will try and go to town on Urashi. No, it's just gonna bite. 16 bite. Yeah.
Does that hit Ash?
That is her armor class, yes.
I just wanted to hit.
Yes.
Its arms into her teeth into her forearm. You kind of hear Urashi kind of grunt as she takes 10 piercing damage as it kind of
5
5
damage.
armor.
And Constitution saved, right?
No, that's only for the claws. This was a bite.
Cool. You do a chomp.
Yes. The bites do more damage but don't have a save, whereas claws do less damage but can make you paralyzed. This Alkaiti boy, he's got one spell slot left. Yeah, he's brave. He sees Phoenix in trouble. He's feeling cocky. The ghoul's just died in front of him. He's going to try and guiding bolt as well.
Power of haste may compels him, but it's not very compelling.
I mean, these acolytes anyway just have something against grass. There's a patch of grass over here gets thoroughly shown what's what.
It has been taught a lesson.
Yes. The ghoul in front of Yareth. It's going to try and nom you.
Oh no!
After I explicitly told him not to. Very rude.
I'm probably way more happy about that than I probably should be.
That's fine.
Well, that's just because you're a great DM.
I've been missing so much.
You've earned this one, buddy. Take that 16 damage.
Ouch. That is big damage.
Can I just check? Is it this one that's been trying to support me this whole time?
Yes.
Cool. As Yareth definitely falls unconscious, he'll just turn, look at him, and just go, "You chap are my favourite," and then fall unconscious.
Okay, Yareth is now down.
Is that sarcasm? Or is that real?
I'll never tell.
Technically, Shield of Faith would continue after you're down, but I'm going to say it stops. Just for convenience. As this guy's no longer concentrating. And yeah, on Orange Ghoul's turn. One will appear there, and one will appear there. This guy will kind of start running up. Actually, no, he can dash. He's going to make his way. He looks like he's about to savage this horse. And this one will... Are you going to make it to a left, actually?
Do I have to make a choice?
Yes, he can. He's going up to April, and he's going to try to norm him. No, he's going to claw him, actually. I'll definitely claw. Be 7 damage, and then Abriel needs to make a saving throw. So 7 damage. And con save. No, Abriel is now paralyzed. Yay.
The funny thing is, the spiritual weapon, I think, is still up. You can't do anything, but I'm pretty sure it's still active. Because it's not concentration.
No.
Spiritual weapon is such a good spell.
Paralyzed? I don't actually know. Anyway, Phoenix.
Yeah, this guy's a bit in my face, so I'm gonna. They're kind of all around, aren't they? Yeah, I'm gonna risk the attack of opportunity and move back to there. As I do so, I'll.
Oh no, he started rolling well.
A con save, please, and 6 damage.
I'm gonna make myself roll a 15 on that, so that's a
Fair enough.
18.
Unless you have a -6 modifier, like 15 guaranteed.
You have a -6 con modifier, you're already in trouble.
You have -2 in con.
And then lob a fireball back at it.
Sure.
Well, not a fireball. God, I wish.
All fire. It's just not a 3rd level one. Oh.
Haha!
Critical!
Round. Yeah, roll damage.
Get that 2d8 in there. Yeah!
That's 12. Yeah, so you kind of strike it square in the chest and its ragged kind of rags. Well worded. His rags will kind of just set ablaze. It's kind of continuing to burn as it screams in pain, I guess.
And Phoenix will look back at Althea and just say, "How's that?"
She's got like a determined face, but she does give like a brief break in which she nods like quite enthusiastically.
Yara, can you whisper me a death save, please?
But of course.
Oh, and at the end of my turn, Moat is going to fly down next to me.
Sure. Abriel. I mean, it's paralyzed. So it's a save rating on turn. Con. Nope, you're still paralyzed. Okay. Yareth, you're down. Can you roll me luck?
Sure.
Oh, I don't
100,
like
yeah?
For the
that.
group, I'm just getting Yareth to roll it because he's down.
Ultimate
Okay.
answer there. Life, the universe, and everything.
That's a good number to roll. I like that number.
Okay, you're kind of stood up in kind of the front of the cart, surveying what's going on. However, you kind of happen to glance down, and you notice kind of peering up from the kind of mass of the wall this small face of the tabaxi child, Hope, who you have been, you're transported to Aathwai. This is why you're here. You'll kind of flash back to the scene in which you found her, where there was an attack on a caravan, traveling from place to place, and you gather this is probably like, if you're going to put PTSD in a book, this would be a good example.
Oh no, I didn't even
You
realize.
kind of see the widened eyes, and you kind of feel a force. You feel it kind of emanating from this child. Phoenix, you're close enough, you can kind of feel like this crackling power seems to be surrounding her. This tree will collapse in on itself.
Oh!
And the material that once made a tree will kind of reconstitute itself. It will reform as a wooden owl bear will kind of just appear and will screech its loud defiance at those who have dared to hurt its friends. Let me roll initiative for an owl bear.
Oh!
Sweet.
Well, we have confirmation now, at the very least.
Yareth will not believe you.
Urashi.
Yareth won't remember this.
Gareth will not remember this.
Where did that blasted owlbear come from?
Tree.
Reckless Axe.
Smash!
19.
I think even min damage will kill this, but yeah. How's Urashi going to dispatch this thing that was once left?
Just this big, heavy, two-handed swing that starts on his left shoulder, and there's this like moment where it collides and just stops, and then that rage just pushes her through to cut him in half, like diagonally.
Yeah, kind of. The head will kind of screech as the one part of it kind of just slides off the top and smacks onto the floor as the lower half will kind of wobble before joining it down there.
And then she's going to move to over here, and just sort of like try and make herself big to distract the ghoul from the horse.
Sure.
Hearing that very gruesome description come from a voice that I now recognize as Althea is concerning?
Red ghouls. I mean, you look like nice. You look like a fun friend fleet.
Good, not horse. Good.
It's gonna bite you. No, it's not.
No, it will not. Thank goodness.
What other red ghouls?
How many times have you rolled a 7 tonight, Ferret? In terms of damage and attacks, just like in general, I feel like I've seen 7 a lot.
This was going to attack this acolyte. I think the other red ghoul is dead, so it'll be onto you, Fleet.
Well, I'm very upset because this is the thing that ate my horse. But I am trying to think less revengey. This is what her meditation has been all about. It is not about revenge, it is about doing the correct thing. So she's going to beat him up, but not because he ate her horse, because he's undead and he's very mean.
It's an important distinction.
Important distinction. She's doing her best. Does a 13 hit?
That will hit.
Oof. Nice minimum damage once again.
Whack it upside the head and your head will kind of crack back.
Now I have a decision to make. I am going to use a key point and the bonus action to take the dodge action and a patient defense.
Cool. Which way is this boy? It's a terrifying wood owlbear. It's a nasty ghoul. Let's say he's a brave boy. You ride up, jump off, and he's going to try and stabilize you, Gareth, with a medicine check.
What a
Nice.
guy.
Yeah. He'll kind of those of you close enough will kind of watch as he kind of presses something down on Yaris, kind of where he's been bleeding from his wound. Yeah, he seems to have stopped the bleeding for now. However, there is a nasty ghoul bearing down on him, and as he kind of looks up, you kind of
Don't you dare kill my
None of you are
favourite
close
boy
enough.
ferret.
If you were, if you your kind of eyes will blink open for a moment, and you look you get a look of, I regret this, as he looks at the nasty ghoul in front of him, out there.
Don't you kill him.
I'm going to. So I'll say, looking down at this, because Hope's in my cart, right?
Yeah.
I really want to. Fine, right. I'll point out to this one here,
Mhm.
and say, Phoenix, can you deal with that one? I'm going to try and calm Hope down. And I shall cast heroism on Hope.
The advantage of being frightened, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Immune to being frightened, rather, sorry.
Or immune to being frightened.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's a really creative way of using that spell. I like that.
Sort of like cup her head in, like her chin in my hands and just be like, it's okay, we're here to keep you safe, don't worry. And these like sort of starting from her hair and just sort of flowing down into her arms will be these two sort of gentle motes of light, which then slowly go into hope as she is under the effect of the heroism spell.
That is really creative. Have a point of inspiration.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
We'll see what effect that has when we get back to initiative 20.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the owlbear, Ra. Is it technically an ally with the acolyte? I'm going to say no, so it's not going to try.
Well, hopefully, it doesn't try to beat the shit out of us when it's done.
Do I need to? So this acolyte, who you actually see, he had this look of "I regret this." You see the two claws, the owlbear, kind of peer out of the chest, like inches away from this chap's face, and it kind of rears up, and this kind of just flexes, as you're kind of as this massive wedge, this kind of hole is created in this ghoul's chest, for it is flung away.
Oh, nice.
Is dead. How far can Albert move? 40 foot. Yeah, it's just gonna make his way a bit closer to the next ghoul. This boy's turn. He's got a ghoul in his face. There's an owlbear running towards him. He ain't got no spell slots. Tactical self-yeet, I'm going to call that.
Reasonable.
Orange Ghoul's turn. It's got a horse on Urashi. It's going to go for Urashi. It's going to bite. No, it's not. This one against Aleth will have advantage. Well, it ought to crit anyway, but whatever. So you see this one, it'll kind of reach up, it'll kind of just methodically bite into Abriel's, not Aleth, I keep calling them the wrong one, Abriel's leg, and you kind of just watch it kind of tears a massive chunk out. You imagine if Abriel was able to move, he would be screaming in pain. However, he is forced to stay still during this entire nastiness. He don't look good. Phoenix.
Yeah, he don't look good. Gonna move to there, so I've actually got sightline on this ghoul. Lob a bit of fire at him.
Sure. Unfortunately, I'll miss.
I'm gonna add the Bardic Inspiration to that.
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah. You kind of smell this kind of searing flesh, and it kind of hiss towards you. However, for the moment, you don't reckon you've distracted it enough to stop it from killing the easy victim. For now, at least.
Phoenix will specifically whistle at this creature, proper like 2 fingers in the mouth, and go, "Not much of a target, is he?" And then move to there.
Yeah. Okay. Yareth is down but stable. Aleth gets to save again because he's at the end of his turn. Urashi.
Time for Great Axe.
Time for smash.
I cast Angie. Yes.
Yes. I mean,
You just can't roll damage dice.
7 Angie damage.
it's not a good day for rolling high.
Damage dice
Yeah.
are not allowed to roll. It's a sin.
That's Urashi. Maybe actually it will circle round to stand in between the ghoul and the horse.
Red Ghoul's turn. Where's Red Ghoul? Oh, he's got the one left. Yes. Okay. He's got an
There's
owl
2 red
behind.
ghouls, aren't there?
Yes, there's one by me.
Oh, yes, of course. We'll start with this one. I mean, an owlbear made of wood ain't going to be too tasty. So it's just going.
Not another one.
Is there any way you
You wouldn't go after another horse, would you?
Oh no.
I mean, if you don't want to go for a horse,
You wouldn't kill a horse.
usually that'd be a 15 to hit.
Is he in range of me?
That's a ghoul.
That's a ghoul.
That's not me.
Okay, alright, it's killing the horse then. That's
Ah!
I believe that's Urashi's horse.
They're dealing like 19 damage.
I mean, I'm
I
not
send
saying
that
it's
to you.
rolling 19 damage. I'm just saying it's killing the horses regardless. Okay, goodbye horse 2. And then the one that is attacking fleet.
At disadvantage. Thank goodness. It still hits, but I'm probably not dead.
That's 10 damage.
It's 7, thankfully.
Oh, sorry, yes, it's not a crit, it's 7 damage.
Oh,
If it was 10, it would have taken you down.
I'm so glad that I chose to dodge there. Oh man.
Okay, actually,
It is my turn, isn't it?
it is.
I really don't like the position I'm in. There isn't a lot that I can do about it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move to here, and then to here, and I'm gonna start thwacking this guy, because he looks almost, gone.
Yeah, don't look good. I think he's been burnt a lot. Nope.
That is an 8, so I'm going to bonus action unarmed to hit him,
Really?
which probably
Sorry,
hits.
definitely. Yeah. That's one dead goal.
Okay, so now there's only one that can hit me. I can't get flanked. And I'm just gonna sit there and hold up my staff and pray that I can stop it from hitting me.
Cool. Oh, it's Yaris Thren's turn.
Yeah, best friend.
The best acolyte. The best of all of us.
There's nobody nasty near him except for the owlbear. Yeah, he's just going to stay with you, making sure you're fine. That's what he's carrying on doing. I forgot. I said I was going to do this in this 20 because that's Hope's turn, but I forgot, so we'll do it now.
I'm gonna owe this priest a life debt.
So as you kind of cast this heroism on her, you kind of, as you say, the kind of golden light. You watch the fear kind of drain out of her face. However, with fear gone, she is only left with anger and determination.
Oh.
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 Kind of where she was just a scared little child. Now, again, with the power that's still kind of, it's faded mostly because it seems to have been, used or channeled creating this owlbear. There's that kind of last vestige traces of it, along with the anger. I mean, you stopped her being scared, but you probably feel a little scared yourself now. It is now your turn, though.
Should we be worried?
No, it's fine.
This is why I just taught her the child.
You're just carrying around someone you can spontaneously produce owlbears. It's fine.
Well, I have to say, all the things I was expecting when we were out on this journey, undead ghouls was not one of them.
Right. I'm going to need a dexterity saving throw from the orange ghoul by Aleph.
Cool. Abriel, not Aleph.
Abriel, sorry.
I've mixed it up with
we dealt with Aleph.
Yeah,
Church guys with A names.
Aleph is dead again.
Again,
For
yes.
radiant damage. There's this rune again appears in the ground and then bursts up with radiant light. and he's not deafened, so he can still hear me. I will call out to Abriel and say, "Don't go dying on us. Break out of this now." Bardic inspiration for Abriel.
Cool. Owlbear. Can it reach any ghouls?
So, who was the MVP of this group, and why is it Althea?
No, it's
Hey.
my favorite cleric.
It is the favorite cleric.
Althea is your favorite cleric.
It can reach
Not-
this ghoul,
not
so it
anymore.
can try. I mean, it's almost near certain thing.
Oh my god.
I mean,
At least the owlbear could roll well.
it rolled min damage. So it'll kind of rake up this ghoul's face. It'll kind of screech in pain once more. This acolyte, yeah, he's gonna try and grab Ariel and kind of
Pull him to
move
safety.
him from the ghoul's range. He can't move much because obviously he's going to try and dismount, but he's got him out of the immediate danger for now. I mean, this ghoul, his prey's gone, so he's just going to have a pop at the owlbear. I don't think it'll do much good, but why not? I mean, it'll hit. I mean, 7. Like,
See, there's another 7.
look, it did a chip.
It did chip that owlbear.
Yeah, it kind of just claws a chunk of the wood away, but like it's still very substantial. Phoenix.
Don't mess with it. What ain't broken?
I mean, yeah.
It ain't broke.
Yeah. And end of my turn, Moat's going to fly over and provide the help action to Abriel.
I don't think that helps on saves. I don't think.
Good question. I will look that up.
I don't believe it does, but yeah, you look that up while we get around to his turn. You doing anything else, Phoenix?
Actually, it will depend if the help action actually helps, because I might have decided to send him somewhere else.
The creature you aid gains advantage on the next ability check it makes to perform the task you're helping with.
Yes, do not saving throw.
Right.
It's like a backwards version of Bless, where it helps with attacks and skills instead of attacks and saving throws.
In which case, seeing as that wouldn't have helped at all, Moat's just going to fly over to Althea, land on her shoulder.
Yareth is having a good old snooze, being
Mhm.
attended by priest friend.
He's relaxing.
End of April's turn, he'll try and save again.
This time. He's inspired.
He kind of finally managed to shake off the ghoul's kind of, and he'll kind of, in his church friend's arms, he'll kind of collapse. He'll kind of hand will go to the massive gouge that's been taken out of his leg by this ghoul, and he'll kind of shout out in tremendous pain. Initiative 20, so Hope's turn. Yeah, I think she still seems to be angry and determined for the time being. She's definitely not frightened, though. Urashi.
Cast Angie.
Sure.
Smash.
Yep.
Come on, you can do it.
Good damage roll.
10 damage.
Okay.
Yeah, she takes another great lump out of it. It'll kind of again hiss in pain, but still seems to be carrying on for now. Red Ghouls, we just got the one left who's going to try and he's going to non-fleet. No, he's not.
Doesn't hit.
You fleet.
Thank goodness for a prayer. I can see that Ash is almost done dealing with that thing. I think I'm just gonna take the dodge action this turn.
Okay.
'Cause I don't know what's going on the other side of the fight. I saw an owlbear, so I'm assuming that Hope is doing just fine.
Okay,
Maybe
Yara
she's
said
gotten
that,
control of her powers and is helping us out.
Althea.
Sorry, is it me again? Holy moly, that came around quickly.
Simple
Well,
turns.
Yara's friends helping Yareth.
That dude, dex save again. That orange one by the owlbear.
Yep. Oh, is it rolling? Yes, it is. 15.
15 you say, okay.
0 damage.
And then
It's too busy dodging the owlbear to. Yeah, it's difficult to target your glowing mark.
no, I'll hold on to that. That's me.
Big boy's turn. I mean, I would say, do I need to roll? But I said it last time. I know both hits. Yeah, so yeah. This skill would just be backhanded into the stream, and you'll kind of watch it kind of rise, and it kind of shrieks before it kind of taken by the current. It kind of crashes against this rock, and Phoenix, you watch as it kind of, with the way it whacked, you hear the cracking of bones, and as it kind of its corpse kind of carries on downriver, it creates a massive trail of blood that kind of mixes in with the water. That's one dead dude, and yeah, it's just going to swoop. There's more enemies, so that's where it's going. This boy, he's just going to tend to it left. Orange Ghoul is going to try and bite Urashi. No.
That's an 18, because that's advantage, because reckless, right?
Oh, I've been keeping forgetting that. Yeah, so that'll be
That'll
10
hit.
damage to Urashi, so half to 5.
Cool. She's fine with that.
I might do it Urashi a couple more times. Oh, well. Phoenix, back to you.
Yeah, not doing a lot of good down here, so 30 feet up there. Action dash to maybe not right next to the owlbear. To there.
Alright. Is Mate doing anything? Or are they staying with Althea?
Moat's just going to provide the help action to Althea.
Yareth
Be
is
a kind of
having a
warm
good old
point of fire on her shoulder.
good old snooze with his friend. Abriel is going to kind of look around. He can't get to Yareth. This. Can he? Can't. They can't quite reach his going apart. So, he is just going to cure wounds himself for now. 2. So he will heal 10.
Good on you, Abriel. We need you to be alive.
And he'll kind of limp his way towards Yareth. Hope still hoping Urashi again.
I think something like 6th verse, same as the first. Kasangi!
Did you count?
Yeah. I don't think you can roll low enough to not kill him now.
Roll it anyway. I want to see you roll above like a 6.
Oh, never! Maximum roll on a d12 is obviously a 4.
Obviously.
Her great axe will kind of clash into the side of this thing's head, and you'll kind of draw it out, and it'll kind of just flop to the ground. Is she moving?
Yeah, there's one there.
Cool.
I'm still
no, sorry,
dodging.
Paulson, it's this guy's turn. He's going to keep going at Fleet.
I'm still dodging. That's a 5. It doesn't hit.
Back to you. You going to finish it off?
Well, now that I have an owlbear, Phoenix, and Ash at my back, yes, I am going to swing at it. For the
hit.
Apparently,
Also, you have
the maximum roll on a D8 is a 1.
Also, you have advantage for flanking.
I do. So I will roll that one more time. There's damage! Finally!
Yep. You keep whacking it. It's getting weaker.
And I'm not. If I move, he's gonna hit me, and if he hits me, I'm gonna go down. So I'm gonna stay right where I am.
Okay. This boy, what's this boy doing? Oh no, this is Yar's friend. He's going to keep telling Yar. There.
Yeah, it's just made a best friend.
Yeah, screw the rest of the party members. This is Yar's best friend now. He's Yar's unconscious. He doesn't even know. Out there.
There's not really much for me to do at this point. Can I attempt to calm Hope in any way outside of my sort of deal with the anger and confusion?
Let's say Gen. Is it persuasion? I don't know. General charisma for now with advantage because your mate's helping you.
Cool. Charisma.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to talk to her, calm her down. She seems to be responding.
Cool. And just to really hone it in on her, I'm just going to spend my entire round focusing on her.
Yeah.
Just sort of almost being just look at me and look at Moat and trying to distract her from the area around her.
But the way Moat is helping is Moat will hop off Althea's shoulder onto Hope's head and do that bird thing where they can almost look directly down beneath their feet, but into Hope's eyes, so that she has to cross them to see Moat.
Oh, that's cute.
Hopefully it's distracting enough.
So going from the cute bird. I hit once. Ooh, yes. Cool. Yeah. Once again the owlbear will finish a ghoul off. It'll kind of just. I know it hit with its beak. It'll kind of just rush it in fleet. You're kind of fighting this thing, and then you kind of glance up to the side, and you notice the rearing up of the owlbear, and its beak will trying to just strike down. It will kind of clasp around the ghoul around its head, and you'll hear a sickly crunching noise, as much like a sparrow, Moat might crush a nut or a berry. This owlbear does much the same to this ghoul's head. And after doing this, it will kind of rear up, and it will kind of do that weird screeching roar to the world at large, and it's kind of will outstretch its four legs kind of wide in victory over its foe. And kind of out there, partially due to your calming down, possibly because Hope sees there's no longer any threats, this owlbear will solidify. It's kind of wooden form. He has been moving freely, but in these final moments, you hear that creaking of wood, and it kind of assumes its final position. And then it will move no more.
So to make sure I've got this correct, we have a wooden statue of an owlbear now?
Yes.
Cool, I think we just leave that here.
Are you kidding? Big lifelike wooden statue of an owlbear?
How in any of the gods' names are we going to transport that?
I think we'll call a break here.
That's a good point to leave the break on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's cool, but how are we going to get it there?
I'm thinking.
So 5-10 minutes biology break. Will be right back. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chronovit. Thank you for bearing with us a little biology break. We'll hop right back in.
Oh yeah.
Calm settles over this impromptu battlefield. one of your companions, along with two of your horses, lie dead, along with a lot of things that are undead. Ariel will finish what he was doing and will move over to Yareth, and he will, he'll second level cure wound you.
Heal the boy.
So you'll heal for 13.
That's almost all of my health. That's amazing.
Huzzah!
Oh, ow! Where are they? Chaps.
It's all right. It's all right. Just lay down. We've dealt with it. Well, April will say, "I'll kind of just try and encourage you to lay where you are." Well, your
Okay.
acolyte friend will finish bandaging you and stuff.
Thank you, friend. I did say you're the best. He'll lean up slightly. Oh, what? How long have I been out? If you guys are able to do a bit of carpentry.
Because there was definitely a tree there, and now there's an owl bear over there.
Yeah, you reckon there was a tree behind you? You can't and the earth has been disturbed. The roots pulled up.
Okay, so chaps, one of two things I'm going to suggest, and you can tell me which one it is, or you can not at all. I don't particularly mind. Either one, all of you are secretly carpenters and you've not told me, and that's very impressive. Or did somebody do a similar thing to last time?
Phoenix is just going to pat the side of the owlbear and go, "What, you don't recognize my handiwork?"
Okay, we'll go with the first one then for now, if you're going to be like that, Phoenix.
As a point of note out there, as soon as you kind of calmed Hope down and the owlbear froze, the kind of whatever surge of energy you had felt will fade, and Hope will faint, basically. She's conscious and breathing, she's just she's not conscious. She's unconscious, but she's breathing is stable and everything.
Yeah, I'll sort of take her into my arms, pass her on to Fleet. I care for her deeply, but I know you. Well, your bond is perhaps stronger, and I shall place a hand on her shoulder and boopty boppty boop.
Is that 20 heal? No, that's 10. I thought that was 7 plus 3 plus 10. Oh, man.
No. Not yet.
But I will take it. That is good. Sleep just curls up her spine, just stands a bit straighter. Thank you. Odd question. Do you mind if I sit in the back of this cart for now? My horse is a little bit gone.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's the current horse to rider situation?
That's okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 horses, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who want to ride. But 3 of them will be 3 horses, and 3 people will be on carts anyway. You can just stack people on carts, so it's probably 5. Urashi can take the dead acolyte's horse, unless Fleet particularly wants to claim it.
No, Fleet is going to hang out with Hope now.
I was going to say, if we pop 2 acolytes just on the back of the carts, could we strap this owlbear onto 2 horses?
No, we're not taking the owlbear.
Even if you put the acolytes on horses, on carts, sorry, this is solid wood.
It's heavy.
Large
the whole
thing.
tree's worth of wood.
You probably couldn't put it on 2 horses.
I've used a cork tree.
It's not cork, unfortunately.
Althea will happily accommodate Fleet on the back. Kyriakos is a trustworthy and powerful steed.
I mean, yeah, he's carrying 3 people and wool now.
He gets many pats as we're traveling. He knows he's an excellent boy.
It's big time pat.
If Althea is listening at all, Fleet is just very gently rocking Hope back and forth, and you don't understand tabaxi, but it sounds like a lullaby.
Annie. No, hang on.
Don't ruin the moment!
Phoenix is just examining the two halves of Eleth.
Are you like just stood like contemplating, or are you actually like inspecting it?
Inspecting it, searching it over.
Sure. Investigation.
Because obviously there was a note on him. That
Yeah.
might still be there.
Oh yeah, that probably fell out of my hands when I got grabbed, so it's on the floor.
Just roll investigation, Phoenix. Yeah, so as I say, it seemed to be just regular traveller's clothes. You kind of look in the pockets; they've been searched. Absolutely nothing on him aside from blood-covered and torn in half clothes. The nail, that's it's still in his upper bit of his chest. And
Good.
you do notice the letter which Fleet would have dropped as combat began. As I say, it is addressed to High Lord Albin. Would you know who that is? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember where you travelled. Roll me history.
Down through down through Hirana, through Wythia,
Yeah,
and
you've
then
not
up through
been in
Southern Akron.
Akron, so I'm going to say history. I mean, High Lord. That sounds like the Lord of one of the cities. But beyond that,
So Moat's gonna fly back over. I'll also take the nail, pop it into my ooze.
What was on the note? Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a sealed letter that says to High Lord. They haven't opened it yet.
Like sealed with wax, or sealed as in you could close it.
Sealed as in sealed with wax. There's no stamp on the wax, though. It's just plain.
So Phoenix will kind of toss it in his hand once and kind of walk back over and go, anyone recognize the name High Lord Albin?
Yeah, Althea and possibly a couple of others will instantly recognize. High Lord Albin is the High Lord of Aathwai. He is possibly the most well-known person in Akaran, after Aesmay himself, obviously. He is an Aesmar who has lived for 1,000 years. He has been High Lord of Aathwai for about 500 of them. He has spent time as the archpriest of the Great Temple to Aesmay in Aathwai as well. There's all sorts of legends and stories about him, what he did in his youth. How much is fact and how much is fiction is unknown, but he is, again, after the god, the most important person in the region, or country rather.
Cool. And this letter is just sealed with wax, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Phoenix would summon his mage hand, pop the note into the mage hand, hold it 30 feet away, and have the mage hand break the wax.
Okay. The wax is broken.
And then kind of shake the letter out so it unfurls.
So it's not a folded note letter. It's more like an envelope with a note.
Right. So breaking the wax, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Okay, it'll bring it back, and Phoenix will open the letter and read it.
Okay. It's not even a full letter. It's barely a note. It just says, so it has begun.
Oh.
Well, that's ominous.
Well, that seems portentous, and he's going to idly just cast Mending back on the wax to reseal the letter.
Sure.
Are you sure we can't take this owlbear?
If you were to dump all of the wool.
Oh no, sorry, that wasn't a DM. That was literally to the group.
And just, I informed you if you dump all the wool and like join the carts together and use most of the horses, you could take it. But
Okay,
you're leaving
Phoenix.
your profit behind. Or if you take
Phoenix,
it, probably, but you know.
I'll give you an ultimatum, chap. We can take the owlbear, but we leave you.
Fair enough. He will
It's
give
a
the
lovely, it's a lovely piece, and when we can come back, if it's still here, we'll get it. I promise you.
I mean, it's very
He will give the owlbear an inspection, though, obviously, because this is high, powerful magic, and he didn't really get the chance to last time as it was destroyed.
And trying to kill us.
Another investigation. Another investigation.
Cool, I've got my little familiar with me now, so he's going to provide the help action.
Nice.
At this point, it is indistinguishable from an incredibly detailed carving. You can tell no trace that it was once maneuvering and murderous, aside from leftover blood on its claws and beak, I guess.
Someone's going to steal this. He's going to sadly walk away from it, but as he does, he's going to pull out a bit of parchment and begin sketching an owlbear
Sure.
as he walks back over to the kind of main group. I'm just going to motes on his shoulder.
Right, well, I don't know about you chaps, but I'm ready to get back on.
Well, that was quite the adventure, we'll say, Aleth. I must thank you all for your dealing with it. I was indisposed. He's kind of clutching at his leg, which has been bandaged. But yeah, it's good if you're going to take time to heal. He's limping quite heavily.
Yeah, what do you want to do about, and Phoenix will point over to the dead acolyte over here somewhere.
We will we'll bring him with us, and he will be buried in the great temple. It is well deserved. Out there, you would know that being actually buried at the great temple in Aathwai is it's not something for regular people. It's not like people in the city die and they get buried there. Like,
This
you know,
is
regular
like
grave.
big honor.
It's not a tremendous honor, but it
I
is
feel
definitely
like-
a bit of an honor.
Yeah, for your
Is it-
average moot.
It's not the Victoria Cross, but it's
No.
definitely a recognition of this person did something significant with their life.
Could
Yeah.
it be like getting married, not married, buried in like Westminster or something?
Yeah, kind of.
Fair dues.
Or kind of just they'll wrap him in cloth and kind of sling him over one of the horses. So we're getting going then, is that the decision?
I will give you a bit of note, Ferret. At some point, Yareth will ask the cleric's name who was helping him so much. If you don't
Of
know
course.
his name.
Because that is now your best friend.
He's the best friend. He's coming with us on every adventure, guys. I don't care. He's going to be my next character and everything.
Oh.
Roll me a d4. Just on my I can
Sure.
probably just roll me a d4 to see what his name is.
Yeah,
There you
one.
go.
Can I use inspiration to re-roll that? Get a better name.
If you want.
No, it's
Remember,
fine.
this is an order. His name is Bleewall.
Brewall.
Bleewall.
Brewall. Cool.
Bleewall?
Awesome.
I can give you a surname if you really want.
No, it's fine. Yareth's fine with Brewall.
Cool.
It's a pleasure.
So the final leg of your journey today will be conducted somewhat solemnly, with Hope still unconscious but relatively fine in Arthur's cart. You'll kind of approach the second hostel of your journey, So there'll be another 8 silver per person to stay, if you so desire. Is anybody doing anything tonight?
Probably drinking.
At
Sure.
some point, if Hope has woken up,
She is not she's not by the time you arrive.
okay, it can wait till the morning then.
Alright.
Fleet is just gonna find Althea at some point.
Yeah, she's probably around. I was gonna say before like any like big resting happens, she'll probably use her healing hands feature just to sort of put 2 hit points into Abriel's leg. Try
Sure.
and
I
aid
mean, like,
its
it
recovery.
could be a long-term injury, but
Oh yeah, but just sort of like whatever she can do, she will.
yeah.
Althea?
Yes.
What you said about Hope and I having a bond. I mean, it's probably true, but you know, you did a pretty bang-up job of keeping her okay.
Oh, yes. Well, my preserve and protect. That's what I do. But no, it's I can't deny that when it comes to understanding her, there's something innately unique to your perspective that I don't think I'll ever be able to match. Though, I suppose in the same vein, her and I share a similar connection in a more divine sense.
Yeah. Something
But
about her drawn to you.
At,
But
at present, she is at the end of the day, a tabaxi child, and who better to raise her than someone raised by tabaxis?
well, her mom, but sadly that's not an option. But I think you're giving yourself less credit than you deserve. She has taken to you, and as much as everyone in this group has said that they have no experience with children, you're all doing a halfway decent job, and your kindness has definitely been good for her.
Maybe we'll eventually be able to get Yarth to say her name.
Once. We can hope. But I just wanted to thank you and let you know I do appreciate it, because parenting ain't a one-person job. It's not something that someone can do alone.
Takes a village.
In my case, quite literally.
She'll say, unfortunately, there's a little I can do for any wounds you might have left today, but
Oh, those will be done with the rest. They'll be fine. Actually, weird question, because I don't know how you all do it. I just know the way that I grew up. Did y'all just have 2 parents? Just the people who did the thing and gave birth to you?
just one, actually.
Oh, well, sorry for what I said earlier.
Yeah, you'll notice Phoenix also looked pretty offended by that remark.
I don't know. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, I had at one point I assumed 2 parents, but I only really got the mum half of it. I suppose in a funny way, I might even have 3.
Forgive me for asking, it may seem a bit intrusive, but what was that like? Just sharing that connection with only one person?
Well, it's nice. You have, an anchor, one person who knows you in your entirety, but in the same way, there is always that gap, I suppose. A sort of place where even if you don't know there's meant to be something there, you know it's missing. I chose to build myself up to fill that gap, as it were. You know, protect and fill that void for those who need it.
That's an incredibly noble goal. I think I've, in a certain way, experienced the same thing, but the opposite. Where I'm from, you don't really connect with one person all that much. It's just everybody's your family, and you treat everybody that way. You have that same connection with everybody. It's just the way things are. I don't think I've ever had a connection quite like just one person to one person. It's weird to think about.
Well, I mean, no one's forcing you to make one. In a similar vein, I'm quite intrigued by the way your life has been led. To have so many people so close to you feels like it would be quite nice.
It was for a while.
Fenix will snap his book shut and just say, "Sounds exhausting to me," and go off to bed.
Yeah, can I ask, is this a public conversation that's
Yeah,
happened?
I'm not trying to be private anyway.
Like I'll say it's like out and about.
Cool. Anyone that's paying attention would notice Yara's extremely quiet during this conversation.
Ooh, so we found the sore spot for everybody in this group. Good to know.
The extremely perspective might even notice if he's had a couple of drinks, might be welling up a little.
I mean, how much are you drinking, Gareth?
It's a good question.
Probably like a whiskey and 2 ales at this point.
Are you celebrating with your new best friend?
Oh yeah, you pretty well.
Commiserating his ally.
He's sober-ish. He'll have one drink, but he's not going to overdo it.
Yeah, well, Phoenix is partly right. It was rather exhausting, because with everybody being part of the family, everybody's got responsibilities, and you never really specialize in one thing. Everybody just helps do everything, and that includes running the business as well. Well, I say business. We basically ran a hostel. It was quite nice. We just helped travelers out in the Badlands. They came through, we resupplied them and sent them on their way. But you see the travelers come and go all the time. You never get to actually look out yourself. You get that itch, and you just gotta go.
It brought you to us.
You're very distant now.
How
There you
how
go.
fortunate that itch brought you to us.
Yeah, fortunate, I guess. Yeah, that's a good word for it.
She'll sort of Althea will just sort of extend her arms out for like a quick hug.
Fleet will, basically on instinct and reaction, give a hug back, because that's just a normal thing. This is probably a good time for... Well, I wish Phoenix was here too, but... I wanted to apologize in sincerity for what I did back in Lantern. It was out of line, and I'm gonna do my best to not do something like that in the future.
Apology accepted. Chat.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you something my mother told me. I will forgive you every morning I know you, so long as you promise to do better each day.
Ow, my heart! Oh! Jesus! That's a promise I can make.
I'll like extend her hand out now for a handshake. It's like almost like instinctively for her, like a deal has been made.
Fleet will weirdly accept this handshake. I will...
The pact has been sealed.
I will continue to do better every day, and I trust you all to have my back if I go wrong.
Of course.
Fleet multiclassing into Celestial Patron Warlock.
Oh, that would be on brand for me as a player, but no.
Yeah. Sort of just sort of, I'm happy with that interaction. I'm not sure if
After a drink or two more, Fleet would just send herself off to bed.
Sure.
Yeah, Yareth will finish his drink and we'll go up silently without a word.
All right. So, morning will dawn on the 12th. I hope you're still sleeping.
Given what she did, I'm gonna let her sleep. I am just going to very gently pick her up, and as we get ready to go, bring her to, I guess, Althea and Icecourt now.
Yeah.
For the sake of brevity, your journey today will pass uneventfully, and you'll stay at another hostel tonight, so another 8 silver. And kind of your 4th day of travel will happen quietly as well. Hope is still asleep.
On the,
About
on the third day, I'd probably talk to Abrio and be like, should we be concerned at all?
to be honest, I'm not really sure.
I'm
Yeah,
worried.
she wasn't asleep for this long last time. Or at all, as far as we're aware.
She's definitely sleeping, chaps, yeah?
I
I
would
mean, she's
hope that
got
I
a
would be able
pulse,
to
she's
tell.
breathing. Everything seems fine. She's just unconscious. But your final day of travel towards Aathwai will pass uneventfully. About 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you will kind of crest a hill, and kind of you'll see in front of you the crown of Akaran, the seat of power for Esme, the capital city. You get the ping location discovered Aathwai kind of in the top of your screen. You'll get your pittance, like 5 XP. And fortunately, that would be enough.
Level 3!
Y'all level 3 now, bruv.
Woo!
Yeah.
Ash and I finally get subclasses, unless we decide to
Ooh.
multi-class.
Okay, so we'll call the end of the session there. However, we'll do level up stuff on camera, so we discuss it, so you all know what's happening with that.
Awesome.
Yes, it's ending the game somewhat. Yes. So we'll leave Lumie to level up on her in between sessions. We'll briefly cover the beginning of next time. Yeah. You're level 3 now. You're going up in the world.
Can I bring you your...
Pardon?
Can I bring you your...
Pardon? I thought someone said something. No? Oh. Yes.
I believe Britty did try and say something.
Yeah, it kind of cut off.
No, that wasn't me. That was a family member. Sorry.
Ah,
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, Britty, what do you get this level up?
I finally get my subclass, and given my interactions with Althea, I kind of... My original plan was just to go Way of the Open Hand, but I'm wondering if Althea's influence is enough to go into, like, Sun Soul or something more exciting. Feel that touch of Esme. Something I'll have to think about.
You can touch whatever god or goddess you like.
Oh my.
an elf, you could go, or however you go sailor, and you've been over tabaxi, you go Tamalia. Like, you could take out there and you could dedicate yourself to Aathwai if you really wanted.
Start
Or just
taking levels
straight
in
up
paladin so I can smite with my fists.
I mean,
If I had the charisma, I would do it.
yeah.
Not gonna lie, if Althea had more strength, I would be triple multiclassing into Paladin for Oath of Devotion,
Yeah.
because I just stretch that thin on all the support subclasses.
Yeah. Phoenix, what are you getting this level up?
Level 2 spells.
Oh, any in mind?
Nadia, I'll have to think about that one.
All right.
A lot to choose from.
Friday.
So in the thing that is with Warlock Build-A-Bear, I get my Pact boon.
Ooh.
As well
Pact
as second level spells. As a Pact boon, I can choose one of 3, I believe, Pacts, because the other 2 are another Arcana, which is either Pact of the Blade, Pact of the Chain, or Pact of the Tome. Pact of the Blade gets me a weapon that I can summon that I'm proficient with. Pact of the Chain, I get a familiar, like Phoenix did today. Or Pact of the Tome, I get a book, a grimoire called the Book of Shadows, in which I get 3 cantrips from any cantrips at all, and also some other stuff if I get invitations, which is probably the one I'm going
They
for.
all have various indications. Like,
Yes.
you're being packed to the tune, yes.
I'm thinking Pact of the Tome, unless you as DM with knowledge of my patron would say a different one would be better.
I mean, like, whichever one you want. Like, I'm not saying anything concerning your patron yet.
Cool.
Like,
I will go Pact of the Tome then.
Cool.
I also get second level spells and can change out an invitation if I wish to.
so do you already have your tome, or is it going to materialize next to you one morning?
It probably materializes. Probably in a. Probably just especially if Yareth's alone, just next to him.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
when you wake up in Aathwai, wherever you end up staying, on the bedside table next to you, there will be a book. I'll let you decide how it looks, what's in it.
Okay.
Althea, what were you doing?
I am taking my second level of Bard. So I will be gaining the Jack of all Trades feature, where I can add my half of my proficiency bonus rounded down to any ability check that doesn't already include it. And
Nice.
more importantly, Song of Rest. When we take short rests, I can help people with an extra d6 of hit point recovery.
Nice.
I think I also get like an extra spell from Bard. So that's neat. Probably going to take Fairy Fire.
Ooh.
That's a
quite
solid
a
choice.
It's quite a solid like buff that I can't get from the Cleric half. So yeah,
Cool.
that's Althea. I don't really get to do anything interesting for another 2 level ups now.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you had gone light cleric, you could have gotten it, but
Yeah. But Life Cleric is just so much more on brand.
you could have burned the heathens in holy fire. But it's okay. I understand.
Is anyone rolling HP?
Oh yes,
I'm going to roll mine.
always.
So now that I know that it's an option, Phoenix is always going to be taking the average.
That was 2 GM, but I rolled a 5 and got a total of 7.
Ow!
And had a chance to
Luke's gamble did not work out.
Yeah, that's not great.
And Phoenix is taking Magic Aura and Enlarge Reduce.
Interesting.
What's Magic Aura do?
Fun things.
It's Nistles, isn't it?
I'm taking the Arcanist's version.
Yeah, but I mean like
Setting
people may
non-specific
know it. People may know it as Nistles Magic Aura.
Yeah.
Right. Oh.
Ooh, fancy.
Stuff you can do clever things with. Okay. Can you whip up the inspiration document, please?
Already
That's one of those
done.
things. I'm aware that we have a charge in our care who
Oh,
people
my
might be
apologies.
looking for. If I can change how she appears to divination magic.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's correct.
So,
Yeah.
for those of you who may not know, at the end of the session, I like to reward characters who did particularly well, or had a great moment, stuff like that, or maybe just want to say, "Oh, you rolled really badly." So basically, I will get all my players to vote on each other, and all of you in chat, you get to vote on the player as well. And whoever wins each of the set of voting will gain inspiration. Sort to 3, and we saw it earlier, but the way it works is whenever you roll a die, you can say, "Ooh, I don't like that die. I'm gonna re-roll it," and then you re-roll it and get the result. But yes, so Britty, who are you voting for?
I would be remiss if I didn't vote Althea. Not only MVP in combat, but also just the best interactions.
Okay. Althea. Matt.
I mean, standout character had to be Ash, right?
I'm going to say you can't vote for people who aren't here.
Then you leave me a difficult choice, man. I mean, how can I not vote for Brewall? You know? No, but in seriousness,
DM.
yeah, I'm giving that to the DM. No. Ambushed by ghouls, and I mean, it would have been guaranteed if you'd let me take the Albert statue. But no. You're putting up with a lot of shit. So yeah, that one.
So you're voting for me?
Yeah.
Ooh, kinky. Riley, no, it's not kinky. I don't know why I said that.
Hmm.
Can I retract that?
I mean, I was about to say for ferret, but if it's kinky, I don't think I want to. But in all seriousness, I am going to go for you, ferret.
I did end the word wrong.
Because A, pretty well, and B, like, I know that it's meant to be just this session, but in hindsight, I wish I voted for you last session. No offense to Nat.
Oh, no, that's fine.
And finally, who are you? Currently, I'm winning, so
Yeah, I was going to say, I also was going to either vote for you or Britty. However, since you're winning it, just have the inspiration, my dude.
You earned it.
Yeah. I'm also already at 3 inspiration, so
You've already stacked them fully.
So am I. I'm stacked at 3.
Oh,
I'm gonna
shit.
stop burning
Anyone?
these.
Which means the tie break for the for the straw poll vote. It's got to go to Yareth.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Yareth gets the vote.
thank you very much, chaps.
Yes, so as always, follow us on our Twitter at rolling_with_it for updates about when mods go live. Really try to slowly working through them. It just takes forever. If something goes like I have a small internet glitch on like the rendering, it just has to start all over again. It's just I will slowly check them out, so obviously follow our Twitter for information about that. And obviously I try and update when we go live. I remember most of the time. And when I have time, I try and make a little synopsis of the previous sessions to catch you up. Go to our YouTube again for VODs and stuff. Rolling with it on YouTube, it would be pretty. Just put it on chat. Any feedback is always wanted, both from players and from chat. I can't improve unless I don't know what's wrong. Same for stuff the stream quality, feedback. Britty's got an awful mic, plus change kind of thing.
Wow. Ow!
Obviously, that wasn't targeted. You know what I mean. Just share it. More fans, good for us. Share it with your friends, share it with your grandma. There's got to be a D&D loving grandma out there. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Bye.
Ta-ta.